never about like clout. It was never about like money or anything. It was
Hundo.
just like I don't know. It was fun. Like I went to the studio and like it was so fun. Like I was actually like so like it wasn't like some bullshit like oh I'm just like beside him beside the laptop and it's some shit like I was like in a booth. He was talking through a speaker and I was like I couldn't even see him. Like the room was red. Like I was actually like and I could hear myself like I am right now.
Yeah.
And I was like yo, like this is crazy. So
Yeah.
it was more just feeding something that I, started having fun with.
Welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, brother. We're sitting with Lance Lorenzo. You're a really interesting guy. We already
Thank you.
basically started the podcast 4 times before this in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Because sometimes it is that deep. But yo, you're a musical artist, a creator. Have you lived in Ottawa your whole life?
Yes, I have. Orleans.
Orleans, bro,
Yes.
repping our ends,
Same
bro.
Pete's, same
Same
Pete's.
Pete's. Well, I'm gonna say Sir Will, cause that's yo, bro.
Nah.
Sir Will produces some real people too, man. It's just always
Facts.
slept on, cause St. Pete's right across the street, man.
That is true.
But I'm really happy to have you on, bro. We've been
Yeah.
trying to set this up for a hot minute,
Facts.
and it's
We're supposed to have this yesterday.
we were supposed to have this yesterday, but even before that, like
Yeah.
a few
Yeah,
reschedules here
that's
and there.
true.
But here we are, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm really good.
It was really dope to see your performance the other day. I got to
Yeah.
actually see the craft happen live. Talk to me about your what made you even get into this to begin with, bro?
Oh boy. So I've always been into music and just like creative stuff. So music videos, movies,
Right.
like I've just always been into it and I've always analyzed things. So I was always the friend that like I knew all the words to the songs and when everyone loves the song, I'm out there like, yo, but the real reason why the song is good is because
production and
listen to the way that the beat drops here and then it goes down and then like I'm like playing it back like wait, listen right here. Like, I'm on people's shoulders,
Yeah.
Like I was always that friend and I'll never forget one of my boys, Lenji, he was like, yo man, just get in the booth. Oh,
All good, bro. You can plug
okay.
it back in.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. So he was
was
like,
like,
yo, you got to get back in the booth.
I'm too animated.
No, it's all good, bro. It happens to everyone. I got to just get these for everyone.
I got you.
Anyways.
So he's like, yo, just get in the booth. And I had like always joke rapped before, but never like serious. And one day, this was 2017. I was it was just one morning and I used to just listen to instrumentals on YouTube and that was when
As
like
most people start.
yeah, like
Yeah.
just for fun and
Uh-huh.
I just used to listen to like even it was more like instrumentals of my favorite songs more than
Okay.
anything. But then sometimes you would get lost into like a tight beat or something like that. And then I was like, oh, like these are cool, whatever. And then I would try again like 3 years after joke trying before when I
Okay.
never was trying to really do anything with it. I was like 12 years old. So then now I'm like 19, I think. And I'm like, okay, like I got this one beat or I had listened to this one beat. And I don't know, I just was like, this is a dope beat. Like this is just a really dope beat. So then my boy Pat, PK, Cass, he
Yeah.
was like, I was like, yo, man, because he had already been like making music by this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, I have this beat. Like, do you want to be on it? Because like I can't make the whole song, but I have like a hook and I have like a verse, but that's it.
Yeah.
So then I gave it to him. He was like, yo, this is like pretty dope. And then I gave it to him, and then he did the verse, and we sent it back. So
To who?
To who? What do you mean?
Like, who'd you send it back? Was it just you
Just
two
between-
working back and forth
yeah,
on
like-
this on the beat? Like, you didn't have someone already
So
mixing or anything?
it was me and him, and then we went to this guy Sarju. We went to his house
Oh,
for
okay.
him to like. That's where I recorded it, and that's where he had been recording.
Okay,
So
okay.
he brought me when he's like, when you're ready, like I'll bring you. And then that was the first time I recorded, and it was like May 2017.
Nice.
And then like I didn't like really hype it up that much. Like I didn't really say like from time I'm making music. And then it came to my birthday in June and I put it out in June on SoundCloud only. And it got like, I don't know, a couple hundred listens and people were like, oh, like, so you make music now? That's cool. But of course I was in the box now, Ottawa artist and
Yep.
whatnot. But because way back I used to do YouTube videos with Lenji,
Okay.
I had already kind of broken the whole like putting yourself out there and trying
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
something. But now it's like on a level where I can afford to make it what I want it to be. I'm willing to be consistent and all those different things that I probably wasn't with the YouTube thing.
What were
So,
the YouTube videos like? What were you guys
oh,
like?
those shits were dope, bro.
Yeah.
Like we used to do like 7 people you see at a
Oh,
party.
okay. Those guys.
Like
Yeah.
there was this one video that like people still talk about this to this day, and it was like we called like this Chinese restaurant and we ordered something and then we put them on hold and we called another restaurant.
Oh, that's
and
legendary.
and
I might have even seen that.
and luckily like one guy was like the main guy, like he had like he was an Asian guy with an accent, and then the other guy was like just this white guy that worked at the other one. So there was just this big miscommunication.
Like, but you ordered.
Yeah, and we're just on the couch, all of us, and like one guy has a deal at his restaurant, the other guy doesn't. So he's saying like, you get like 2 free rice bowls when you get this. Like, is that okay? And then the other guy's like, no, and we put it on mute, and we're just on the couch, just rolling like.
Bro, that reminds me of all those ownage prank.
Exactly.
Those ownage prank call videos,
Yes.
and like, I would spend hours watching those.
Because he had different voices. It was, and that wasn't even our thing. We just did it one time,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like, oh, it was hilarious,
That's so
and
funny, bro.
people loved it. And then I don't know, we just we weren't like
Didn't pursue it.
Yeah, because like with YouTube, I find it's like one of those things where like you kind of have to follow the formula. It's like
The algorithm,
bro.
bro.
You have to like if you do the creation studio tutorials, like it's like, you have to post you have to set a date that you're gonna post every week.
Yeah.
You have to do this. You have to it's a good idea to look at your comments and include it in the video so people like you have to actually do those things.
And not to mention the tags, bro. It goes so deep. Like, yo, you could. I watched one of those videos when I was starting this because I'm like, I guess I should put it up on YouTube.
Exactly.
And yo, they're like, you even gotta name the file something
Yeah.
certain because that picks up in the
Exactly.
in
Like
the SEO of the. I'm like, bro, what?
Yeah, there's like so
I'm the type of
many-
person who names his files like ASDF 167 like 2017. Like, what? You want me to sit here and just like
yeah, like exactly.
But you
So-
gotta be calculated. You gotta treat that shit like a job. Like, I'm learning
Exactly.
more and more when I watch these creators and stuff. It's like, this is they might be fucking around, having fun, looking like they're making funny, silly videos. No, it's a job.
It's a job, yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
But anyways,
It's-
getting back to like how that related to then you creating music. So you were like, you already had that part out of the way where it's like, I'm not afraid to put myself out there and have people recognize me and be out in the public. But
Because
then
it was never about like clout. It was never about like money or anything. It was
Hundo.
just like, I don't know. It was fun. Like I went to the studio and like it was so fun. Like I was actually like, so like it wasn't like some bullshit like, oh, I'm just like beside the laptop and it's some shit. Like I was like in a booth. He was talking through a speaker and I was like, I couldn't even see him. Like the room was red. Like I was actually like, and I could hear myself like I am right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like this is crazy. So
Yeah.
it was more just feeding something that I, started having fun with. And the bigger story, if anything, of the why I'm so into like music is more because like I went to like Carleton for like 2 years criminology, but then like I stopped going because it just wasn't. It's not that it even wasn't my thing. It's just at the time I was young, I wasn't mature enough. I still was into my social life. I was like, there's no way that I can like cancel on these plans because I have this assignment due. Like I was like, no way.
Yeah.
So there was that. I just didn't have a will to want to like read chapters and any of these things. And the crazy thing is like I didn't even really fail to the point I got kicked out of my program, anything like that. I just like took time off because to me, I told my parents like, look, like I'm just wasting your money at this point by like going through this cycle of not getting good grades, and then you're telling me, oh, this semester you're gonna try harder, and then
I remember that lyric when you were
Exactly.
performing. It's like
Yes.
dropped out of uni, something like that.
I dropped out of uni and made my family concerned. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
hard
yeah.
to discern that my decision was stern.
That right there.
yeah.
So I remember that, and then I was like, I'm gonna bring this up on the podcast.
Yeah.
But then you did it for me, which is dope. So pretty much with this whole uni thing, I always like to talk about it for a little bit because I think it's just almost so ridiculous as a concept to even make someone who's 16, 17 years old even make that decision that's supposed to affect the rest of your life.
Right.
When you haven't tasted other things yet. You know what I'm saying?
So that's the parallel that I would draw is like, I'm not even someone that would say like, oh, like don't go to school, like it's a waste. Like, nah. In the reality that we live in, like it's important. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
not obsolete yet.
Yeah, it's not obsolete. If you want a job that like you don't have to like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
really like slave over, you need the education to get that, you know what I mean? It's that piece of paper. Unfortunately, that's just how it is for now.
It is.
10 years from now, it may be different. Our kids may have it easier where now they can just be creative, and being creative is more of a thing than actually like getting an office job. And now you just have more like, you know what I mean?
Well, dude, like we're seeing it happen, and you're seeing so many, like it's such a major shift where
Exactly.
everyone has this power to be a creator. Like it doesn't even have to be fire content. Have you seen TikTok?
That's what I mean.
Bro, like TikTok is creating famous people out of people like no hate. A lot of the times that you don't even have to have talent.
Even like
I could throw an egg at your face, TikTok, boom, famous.
That's it. Or you even like, you know, these new like this new style of like YouTube videos where it's like the jokes are like it zooms in on your face, and like there's like like the sound gets distorted at times, like, or you start like having a cough attack.
Yeah,
like, you know, like it's just this like weird like humor now where it's like, but everyone can relate to it because it's just like, oh, this is how I act when I'm by myself, and this person's just like brave enough to like
put it out there.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like that's kind of like the new humor where I find like. Even just a few years ago, like I always found like how there's like Black Twitter and all these things, but like I find nowadays like it's starting to just be like just one
melting
like
pot.
Yeah, like just internet humor, like like you know like
memes and this and that and
like think about like every SpongeBob meme, like it like there's like the amount of memes SpongeBob has been used, like viral ones at this point. There's the one when he's tied around the thing. There's
we can sit here and
I'm
talk
a head
for
out.
7 hours of just.
There's the one when the fish is going like this. Like there's so.
But then there's levels to it. So then people make those dank, and then they like dank memes. Like they make those like purple and then fucked up, and then like looks like you're looking through a kaleidoscope, or like SpongeBob's all like high as shit, tripping out, like, or the whole thing's melted, or you got Patrick just like I'm like, bro, what kind of level?
I know, but then it's like it's the fact that it's perfectly like I get it, you get it, like we all get it.
It's currency.
So like when I go on someone's like Twitter account and I see their retweets and it's stuff like I'll be like, okay, they get it. Like this is humor that's like on a different level. Like I like when I'm laughing at it, I can't even explain. Like for me, this is a huge sidetrack, but for me, my favorite like videos are like the ones that are really raw. So like one of my recent like videos that I've been dying at is the one when like the guy's little brother's in his room asking for pizza.
Okay.
And he's like the kid's like chubby and he's like, yo, he's like, I did what you asked.
Yeah.
He's like, and you still won't give me pizza. And then the guy's like, yo, like all coming up with excuses. And then he's just like, I gave you pizza. And he's like, all right. But that was, he's like, that's because there was no food in the house. He's like, now there's food. So like, you don't need this. And the kid's like getting more and more upset. And he has a knife with him. And the brother's like, are you serious? Like, you really gonna fucking stab me over some pizza? He's like, is you serious, bro? And then the kid's just like, yes. He's like, yes. He's like, cuz. He's like, you never gave me. And he's like, all like, and then the brother's all like, yo, like, no. And then after the kid's like, holding the knife like this, he's like, yo, he's like, yo, he's like, cut it the fuck out. He's like, put it down. And he's like, and now the kid knows like he has nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So he kind of hits this like kind of like the I'm gonna run away from home tactic.
Yeah.
And he just takes a knife and he just puts it to himself, and he's just like,
oh.
And then the brother's like,
the fuck,
put it down. and he's just like.
Yo,
and then he's just like,
that's so great.
And he just like leaves the room and he starts crying. Like it's like,
that's such great
and
humor,
it's just
man.
like, remember that video of the two kids when he's just like, this kid tried to eat
I don't know that one.
Yo,
I must have seen it.
Yo, it's like these. Oh man, this is why my friends call me PC.
This is why I wish I had a young Jamie just pull that shit up and just have the TV. I'm get there.
Don't worry,
give me time.
We're getting there. And it's just like, yo, show them.
Yeah.
It's like these two kids and they're just having a kid argument, and like the one kid's just like telling the camera, like trying to humiliate the kid, and he's all like, this guy tried to eat a sandwich. This guy tried to eat a ham sandwich, and he had to microwave it. And then he's just like, why he ain't eat it cold? Then he's just like, see? And he's just acting like it's just a big, it's like one of those videos. And those
but that's what it is, man.
Oh
Bringing
my
it
gosh.
back, it's like the internet allows anybody to record these moments, and like, you know, everyone has a smartphone, so you can pull it out and record anything
That's the
at any
thing.
time.
It's like my thing is always like picture like even the most viral things in like 2012, like how different they would have been if they Miley Cyrus, Wrecking Ball. Picture if that had come out now with
People
the
be like,
internet and all that, like with
'cause it
everything.
evolves at such an exponential rate, right? That like, if someone at your workplace told you, "Yo, we're gonna go do the Harlem Shake," you look at them like, "Bruh."
Like,
Like my workplace, like they tried last year, or was it this year? I don't know. Last year, I think they're like, "Hey, so Deepak, we want you to do the floss dance and on stage with a bunch of other people doing the floss dance." And they sent like an email out from management. Imagine this, from management being like, "Yo, it's for a charity thing, blah 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 blah." Like, well, here's a YouTube tutorial on how to floss. I'm like, bro, we've reached like peak. Like, what's going
you
on here?
know, it's the level where okay, for example,
They're trying to make this.
you remember during the election when what's his name? He did the TikTok thing.
Oh, Jugmeat.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was like funny. Like don't get me wrong, it was like ha ha ha.
No, it
but at the same time, it's like like
so
bro,
cringy,
you know,
bro.
it was
Stay in
like
your lane
like they were
almost.
like, oh, how do you want to get to the youth? Make one of those TikTok things and
Exactly.
make sure that you have a like they have someone that's in that department and like they did it like you know what I mean?
It felt slimy.
yeah.
It felt gross. It was like, you didn't make this TikTok because you wanted to make a TikTok.
It was
You
like-
made it because some person told you that, yo, this is how you get the youth, or this is how you get this vote or that vote. It's pandering at the end of the day,
know what I
right?
mean?
But it like, yo, I felt like that was so gross. I saw that. I didn't find it funny. Maybe someone out there, but yo, maybe it worked. It probably worked. It got bare views.
That's the thing.
Like, so now, oh, this is our new woke prime minister
Yeah,
candidate.
no, I'm
like,
really not into like like all that like
yeah, ain't it?
yeah. I was like, but okay, let me go back to make the point. Just to make the point about school though, was that so I was like really young. This was maybe 2 years ago. Or three maybe. And I never really said that like I quit on school or anything like that. Because what's funny is there's things that I've grown now to learn or just get into, whether it's politics or just like sociology related things that I learned in school. Like I know I would have learned if I read the chapters and all those things, but I wasn't willing to. That now I'm actually into naturally. That now I'm like, oh, I wonder if I went back now how I would be, because now I'm actually into sociology and all those theorists that I used to think are boring. I find because like I find the fascination, like these are the types of codes I crack. Or like when I one day was just sitting in bed and I was like, yo, like sociology and all these things that are educating us about us, like someone has a theory. So someone was just like, why do we do this? And then they're like, I think it's because of this. And they did an experiment. And then it was like successful or whatever. And then they're like, yeah, like that's it. And then they showed it to a bunch of people, and then a bunch of people were like, yo, like that's facts. And then like that's what we go by. Like we just everything we know is by someone else's belief that we were just like, like I guess, like, you know. So like the apple hit like Newton's head, and he was just like, yo, instead of just being like, ow, and he kept it moving, he was just like,
why?
Yo, why? And then like enough to just be like,
yeah,
and be like, yo, guys, have you ever noticed when you go like this, like the shit falls? Like it's called gravity. You know what I mean? Like, and then it just carried on, and that's what we've gone with.
Yeah.
So like, because I think it's cool now, like that's what a theory is. Now, if I'm in school and they're teaching me about things that theorists are saying, I'm more engaged and more willing to be like, oh, okay, like what's he really saying? Because now I've opened the door by myself. Like I once saw this like spoken word thing like years ago, but I've always like taken it, and it was, I love education, but I hate school. So that's like how I am in how I learn things, is that I learn through rabbit hole and intuition and different things. But it's that I didn't want to learn these things on the spot, under pressure, do tomorrow, next week, and all these things.
That's the thing, and then that's what I'm gonna say is like, for me, you know, I survived school. I came out the other side, but it damn near killed me in terms of just like all these deliverables and just having to balance so many things. But all that aside for a second, just really talking about school and what it is, there's nothing inherently bad about school if it's the only thing you're doing and you're doing it for the right reason, like you said. to actually learn and educate and be able to apply these things to your life and
Exactly.
the world. But if you're just, I mean, 5 minutes after writing a fucking multiple choice exam, if you asked me what the question was, I'd be like, bro, I had no idea.
Exactly.
It's this regurgitation and like the way it's set up for us to, and I hate to be like, blame society, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But the way, like, I don't know if there's definitely a better way out there, but
Right.
right now, the way they have set up, that's not a good way to learn for everybody.
Exactly.
Some people, I mean, I need my doctors to still be going through med school.
Right, exactly.
I need the people who are the hard sciences and you know, but then, there's other disciplines where it's just like, should I really be tested on this in this structured 16-week format where I got 6 essays to write and and I'm doing 5 other courses and then school work, relationships, all kinds of other shit going on at the same time to balance. How could your mental health not get affected by that? And then, so all that to say, like, just bringing it right back to it, like, school has a place in society, but it needs like it needs to be reset. Like there needs to be all right, guys, time out. We're taking 1 semester across the world to just figure some shit out because this ain't working.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like these days, like I feel like our generation is really more on like the whole like nepotism and like it's not what
does that word mean again?
So nepotism is like getting jobs like through like family.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Stuff like that.
Who you know.
Yeah. And that's what it is. Like there's so many cases of myself or even people that like even like right now, like the job that I got, I manage a lids. I came in just kind of like I needed an assistant, like not an assistant management job, but I needed a full-time job. And the guy that hired me was a guy that I played soccer with years ago. And right there, like he put it as his Facebook status. I replied him, DM. He liked me. I didn't even have an interview. Like it was just like that. Within a year, I'm now the manager. So like,
it's about who you know, not what you know.
Exactly. And right there, before that, I never even had a full-time job. Never even. And now I went from working like part-time, just whenever I want at my 2 jobs, to then jumping to assistant manager and then now manager within a year, and it's all on the resume. So like
it's hard though it's hard otherwise if you're not in the situation where you know somebody, because I mean I know people personally very close to me in my life who did not have a direct connection to get a job. Almost years sending resumes, applying. You know who you are. Like just trying their best, like doing it all right by what everyone says. Oh, go talk to the manager. Oh, put these words in your resume. That's not gonna get you a job if you don't know someone who can be like, yo, I got you, bro. Let me scoop you.
It's just how it is. Like it's really like it's literally how it is.
Anyways, let's get back to the music. All right, we went a little bit off track, but that's what I like. That's how I like conversations to be, man. But let's bring it back to
right now. I feel like, you know how this conversation feels like? It feels like, you know, you're on your phone for like a lot. You're like watching stuff and you're like, yo, what's my battery? You're like, what's my battery saying? And then you look and you're like, whoa, like I'm still like real good. Like,
100%, man.
Yeah, okay.
I thought you were about to say like, yo, what did I go on this app for? You know,
cause I know those ones too, but I hate even talking like that.
Because it's all.
You know what? Talking. You know why? Because you're saying that, but years ago, you know what it was? It was, you know, you walk in a room and you're like, yo, what did I come in for? And now you're saying, oh, when you go on an app and you're like, what was I on here for?
No,
that is
true.
Crazy.
It's true.
That is crazy,
it's
bro.
True.
That's like.
I still do the room thing, though, to be fair.
Of course.
But I get what you're saying.
But you know?
Yeah. So bringing it back to the music, though, man, you started to, you know, really find, I guess, that you enjoyed it and it's something you want to do. And I don't want to be sitting here putting you in a box. I'm not calling you just a rapper. Like, because you're obviously more multifaceted than that. You got a lot. We're all multidimensional humans with a lot going on. But something that you're good at and you it's a craft that you're building is your music.
Right.
Talk to us a little bit more about that. What inspires you and what makes you actually want to create more and more?
Okay. So actually, that's like how you said, you don't want to put me in a box. It's good that you say that, because I feel like often, like, so I guess you could say I dropped out of uni, like I said in the song. But like I said, there could be a time where I just decide, you know what, like let me let me go back. Like I wouldn't want all my my credits to reset because I'm unsure of whatever is going on in music. Like, you know, I would take a course to keep them alive.
Right.
Just because at this point I'm mature enough, I'm engaged enough that I know I could take at least one thing back in school because I like to educate myself. And you know, that like I just said, those are things that if I'm in a class now and I'm like, yo, I know about this. Now I'm gonna be like, okay, what does the book say about it? The way that I can read into Wikipedia about random things that I already know about. I'll read about Kanye West on Wikipedia. I'll read about this artist. I'll read about this certain music video and see what it says just to see how it describes the plot of the music video or my favorite movie. Like I'm weird like that. So that's like an avenue I would still take. But I just feel like you already get boxed in as, oh, he dropped out of school because he believes in himself musically and he doesn't need to follow the system. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I'm careful putting anyone there because, bro, why? Like,
that's the thing.
It doesn't have to be either
It
or.
doesn't have to. But I feel like I've felt like after a while, after talking to a lot of people, they thought like, oh, so like you've been making music and then you dropped out of school because you were like, I need to get more focused. And
It's
then,
a story they've heard.
yeah.
So
And I
they
even
relate
started
to it.
I started to be like, yeah. Then I was like, oh wait. No, that's not what happened. Like I dropped out of school and then I still lived at home and my parents were like, yo, like you gotta like start paying for your own stuff if you're not going to school and you have to be working more. You're not just gonna like live at home and do nothing and work part-time. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I was just working all week and whatnot. But instead of just going home and like playing video games and partying and doing nothing when I'm not working, I decide to like focus on something that I probably would have never had the time to focus on if I was in school. So I was like, music. So then I got more into music once because I think I had made music the summer before I realized that I'm not going back to school. So then I was like, well, shit, like I have time on my hands and I'm going to have a lot more money than usual. And I'm not like, at the time I wasn't thinking of moving out. So I was like, well, like, what am I going to do? So I was like, well, let me just invest it into music and see what happens. Because I felt like if I put my passion or my focus into something I'm really passionate about, which is creation, which is music, anything like that. Because before music, I was taking photo, like modeling, like just doing photos and like on the gram. And I planned to like, become like Ian Connor, which was like this guy that always chills with like ASAP in them. He's just like a cool fashion guy that gets like cool model gigs for like Yeezy and all these different things. And that was my goal at first. But then I just was like, you know what? Like, let me just like go into music because I really liked music and I always watch behind the scenes and the making of how the producer made the beat and all these different things. So I was like, okay, let me like see what I can do and get more into it.
So music as a whole and not really just the rap element.
Yeah, I know everything. Like by the end of it, like I hope I can learn to like produce and like do like all these things because just music to me is just like I love music, not just even rap, just music. And sometimes I like just get mind blown, just like, damn, like, you know, like when you really like I have a friend where he's like, yo, honestly, like when you're telling me like, yo, this is my favorite part of the beat, like he's like, I just don't hear it. And I was like, damn, I'm like, really?
Here's the thing though, because not everyone has the ear for it, but also, and this is my own personal experience, sorry to interrupt you, but like I've always thought of myself as one of those people who like, oh, this track's fire, the bass is sick, bro.
Okay.
Like I just think it sounds good, but I can't tell you why. Or I'll fuck with the lyrics, but like I don't even listen to all of those.
So
I'm just a very casual observer.
So I'm the guy where what you just said, I'll say it and you'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's
But let me finish
exactly
though. So some of my friends who are like creating music and then producing and this and that. So I got to, and this is why I found it interesting when you were talking before about going in the booth and in the studio and seeing the whole process and this and that. When I got to do that and see how a beat's made and then omnisphere and all these different things, and then I'm in the I went in the booth, I'm fucking around, I'm spitting a bar here and there, like just joking around, like I'm still joking, like I don't want to make music, that's not for me, but being surrounded by it and the energy and contributing to it and just being there and feeling the energy, I'm like, oh shit. Now I listen to music, like I listen to it.
Exactly.
I'm like listening to a song, like, oh, the way it went.
It unlocked.
Exactly. It unlocked that. So even your track, Smack, I put that shit on repeat. And I this is not to knock the lyrics. That's all good. I fuck with that. You treat you with the back. Like,
Yeah.
that's all hype.
That was, yeah.
It
that
was the background, the doo-doo-doo, like, oh shit. I'm like, I was just telling my cousin before this, I played the track for him. I'm like, yo, bro, like, listen to the music. So anyways, in a roundabout way, like, that's what I just wanted to say. But yeah, continue what you were saying, like, with music, because like, I feel like it's something you can kind of be awoken to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, wait. Check this out. Like, this is how that snare drum and this is how this 808 comes in. And I'm just like, what is all this? I just thought they just make a beat. Like,
no. So, like, I've always been that friend where, like, when we're listening to songs back in the day, we'd be at the party, I'm lit, and I'm playing, like, I'd have the aux, and we're going off to songs, and I'd be like, wait, like, you know, like, wait, but wait for this part, and then they're waiting, because now they're like, and then they hear it, and they're just like, you know, and I can make someone, then they text me 2 weeks later, bro. I've been listening to that song ever since. Like, you know, like, I'm not like, you know, just because I'm so animated, and like when I really like a song or whatnot, like, I'm so animated in it, and I will share with like someone else, like, yo, just the same way that if I see a funny video, I will share it with someone, like, just because it's like you have, and I'll share it to the extent that, like, I'll tell you when the funny parts are coming, because I need you to feel exactly, like, I try my best for you to laugh exactly at what I laughed at. And I'm the type, like, when I find something funny, it's like, reason why I find it funny, 1. Reason why I find it funny, 2. So reason 1 is because of, like, the way it was said. Reason 2 is the mannerism. Reason 3 is the overall irony of the joke. Reason 5 is just the fact, like, imagine if that happened in real life. Reason 6 is because it reminds me of something that's happened to me before. Like, that's crazy, why, like, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm the one. You're still laughing at that? Like, yo, like, but it's also just because I just don't forget things in a way. So I just have this way of, like, remembering the weirdest things. So, like, remember before the thing I was telling you, I have a weird story to tell you that'll show you my memory. It was, like, way back, me and my boy Lenji, we had a big party in Orleans.
Okay.
This was, like, this was, like, 2016, I think. And, like, the day after, when we were cleaning up, you had a party.
Okay.
And we went to the party with Dion Mason.
Okay.
And, like, you ordered pizza for everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
that sounds like
it was
something
like,
we do.
like, and we'd never been this type of thing before.
Yeah.
And
we
like,
had all the liquor, like we were.
Like it was just there.
Yeah.
And like people were there, they're like, that were out of, like, yo, it's sickest party. Like, we were getting mad love because a lot of these people either were at our party yesterday or they couldn't get in because there was too many people. So we were just out there, people were like, yo, sick party. It was crazy. And then like I remember, bro. Even like Raul was there. And Raul started beefing my boy because, like, there was he had wild out at our party, and it was all like, yo, who is this guy, whatever. And he's like, you acted up at the party yesterday. And then everyone's like, yo, like, that was his house. And then he's like, and he was like, oh shit, like, he was all like, damn, like, yo, it was just like it was a crazy memory.
So
like,
funny, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know how
these are
long
things
that
you and
was.
you wouldn't even remember this because like you just weren't. You weren't.
See, here's the
you
problem.
Weren't conscious of me.
Here's
like
how,
that.
but here's even how, like, opposite of you I am in that regard. I have a good memory for things that I think like matter, but everything else I kind of just archive.
I just accidentally remember these things, though. Like, that's the thing.
You're just
like,
very hyper aware. I guess.
And I just remember, like, we saw the alcohol. We were like, oh, okay, and and then like the pizza came, and we were like, what the hell? Like, and there was like a lot, and me and my boy, we joked each other. We said, I'll never forget. We said, what kind of all-inclusive party? like, and to this day, like it'd be like, yo, remember that all-inclusive party? Like we were joking, like, this is all inclusive. I kind of
wish we weren't that way, though, because it makes it hard to throw parties now because there's expectations. There's these weird expectations that we set on ourselves that it's like, yeah, yo, like, do we need to bring our own licks? I'm like, yes. Like, yes. Like, this is not a, like,
yeah,
we're still gonna provide, but that's just because we're brown and we flex for no reason.
Even before that, there was one time, even way before that. This was like, that was after high school for me.
Okay.
This is even before when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. We were on the 135 past Orleans. 135. I was on the bus with Ernest, and you worked at Superstore with him.
Yeah, we did.
And you got on the bus and you were wearing your Sir Will varsity jacket.
Okay.
And you were like, yo, it's good, Ernest. He dapped me up. And
Ernest,
she's like,
my
yo, this is
boy,
Deepak.
man.
I work with whatever. So that's how far back it goes to me,
That's
like even just
crazy,
knowing of
bro.
you. But I just remember like you had your Sir Will jacket. With the
I
white
knew of you
yeah.
too, though, bro. I just didn't know your name.
You see?
See, this is how bad I am at like. Okay, you can ask any of my friends how many times this has happened to me. All right, someone will come up to me, and like, we'll be at a mall, I don't know, anywhere, like just walking out in the street. They'll be, yo, Deepak, what's up? Come dap me up. I'm like, yo, what's up? How you doing?
Then they're like, who was that?
And no. And like full out convo. Like I'm talking, this person knows my mom. This person knows everything going on like in my life. And I'm just like, yeah, man. Shit, like, yeah, things are good, bro. How are you doing? How are things with you? You know, just the most generic, like, insert word.
I've done this 4 times.
Take a shot every time you see this guy.
You didn't see me grabbing the cup?
But, yo, and then after I look at my brother, I'm like, yo, who was that? It's like, oh, I thought you knew. Like, I'm like, I don't. I probably met this person when I was under the influence or something. And then, like, I just don't remember who this person is. And so that kind of shit happens to me all the time. And that's really bad. And it actually bothers me because this person knows me. And they have a
some
place,
sort of memory.
They have a place in their memory for me. Why don't I have that for them?
Fair.
But I sometimes feel like I got my hard drive does like a cleanup mode every year where it just like takes only the important things that happen and it's like, yo, focus on those.
Fair
Everything
enough.
else, just put it away, man.
Fair
There's
enough.
too much. Like sometimes I wish I had more of your PC or
Okay,
whatever,
yeah,
you know,
PC,
going on.
PC, that's what they call me, yeah.
That's what they
like,
call you, huh?
Yeah. Like, I'm the friend, we talk about movies, like, yo, remember that part in the movie when whatever? And it's like, hi.
And you'll
I'm
be
like,
quoting the actual
I'm like,
line.
yeah, I'm like, yo, remember the part in the movie
Is
when...
that called a photographic memory? Is that what you have?
I don't want to boost and say photographic memory. I just, like...
But I think a lot of people would call it that because photographic memory isn't like in the movies where they say like you can like put a slide up on the thing and like 40 years later, like I know the font on this number on like, but you will remember
random things.
The slide.
Like, I remembered a friend of mine, like I told him like, yo, in grade 4, you had this jacket. And he was like, yeah, I did. He was like, what the hell? Like he didn't even really remember. Like it's like, I'm like Nardwar without getting the facts. Like I just remember it. Like,
that's so funny.
Like, I don't know, but it's like there's different types of memory, and one of them is called your episodic memory, and your episodic memory has to do with like life memories, and I would just say I have a very strong episodic memory because I always joke and say I remember my own birth, but like I don't actually.
But what's the other type of memory?
Like there's memories that have to do with, there's an episodic memory has to do with like life events. Then like another memory has to do with like, let's say your password, your PIN.
Like analytical.
Yeah. Almost. Then another one has to do with like, you know,
So short-term, explicit, implicit, autobiographical.
You see, so now, so let me draw this back to school. So now what I just said about episodic memory. Now, if I was to be in school and I go to psychology class and I learn this, now I'm like, like bring it, because I've actually looked into it myself and been like, yo, this is a piece of memory, and now I'm learning the actual school way of it.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, like that's all it is. But now back to music is that like the whole reason why I was even bringing up school is that I've never had anything, and like my parents can say that I've been like disciplined about, like super disciplined about. I went to the gym when I was playing ball, and I was like disciplined there. Like I actually got bigger. I got better. That was like, you know, but that was only for a temporary time.
Right.
Now going to the gym, like I'm not consistent and all these different things. But when it came to music, it was like I dropped the first song and it got a couple hundred on SoundCloud, and then I put out a few more songs only on SoundCloud, and it started to like, I guess, decline in terms of like the activity, but I still was like, whatever, because of course, like numbers matter, but like I didn't really care so much as saying like, okay, I made this one, and I was like, okay, like, can I top it? Can I personally make a song that I think is better than this? Forget what everyone else thinks. Can I make a song that I think is better than the first one I made? that I was playing nonstop, like when I first had it done, all day, all night, sending it to everyone I knew before it was out. And then I make another one, and I'm like, yo, I go record it, and I'm like, this is better than the last one. I put it out, and let's say it doesn't have the same results as the first one. That doesn't make me stop. It's just like, whatever. Like maybe I didn't promote it as well as the last one. Maybe I rushed on promoting it, pushing it.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't push it well enough after it was out. But to me, it was like, yeah, I put it out because to me it passed the test, and I felt like it was better than my last one. And then it was always just surpassing. So then I met Chank's daddy, which was the first guy I started really recording with, and I've known him for a very long time. And it was like I started with one song, and every week that I would go, I would come with a new song, because in between the next session of being supposed to work on the last song I started on, I would go home, go on the PlayStation, go on YouTube, listen to type beats, let the beats play, and just wait, play. Like I'm talking like fishing patience, like 200 videos past nothing.
Wow.
Just of beats, like, because I'm not just gonna latch on, like, my ear is too specific, and I'm too maybe picky, where like I can't just jump on like a generic beat where it's like, this is just like noise to me. And even with what I like in terms of music, certain songs that a lot of people like I don't like, because I'm not into just like noise, like
a
just
banger,
like you know what I mean,
boom boom,
like you know, like
everyone dancing at the club,
like a Future song or a Migos song. That is like, I like a lot of those a lot. There's other songs by them that I like that are more specific. But like some songs, they just kind of pass this thing where it's just like, man, like this is like there's really nothing to it.
It's not
And
the substance,
of course, it's cool to get to a level where, of course, like I that's the thing, is I always understand these things. It's like they always say, you need 1,000 true fans,
yes,
1,000 dedicated true fans to keep it moving.
I read that essay.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
1,000 that are willing to spend money, listen to things when they first drop,
ride with you.
Really ride,
Yeah.
just 1,000. So I understand that when Travis Scott puts out Highest in the Room, other people are like, oh, this is just like Butterfly Effect. Oh, this isn't special. But then other people are like, yo, this is fire. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Those songs that kind of like The Weeknd has that new song that he put out. Yeah, and like I didn't really vibe to it, but people were like, yo, this just sounds like The Weeknd put his vocals on it, and it's just another Weeknd song. Okay. But you're going to hear it on the radio, and you're going to hear it a bunch of times, and you're either going to just...
So subjective,
you know what I mean?
Though,
like,
what makes a song successful?
That's the thing.
And what is success? And then, you have a particular ear for music, and this kind of brings me into my like next little segue with it, is like why you're such a big fan of Kanye. And that's because... like Kanye West, for everyone who knows, is an actual genius. And like, but the way I like to think about Kanye is almost like an athlete. So bear with me here, because I literally just thought of this right now.
Go ahead. Oh,
I like to say it. I like to say it like I've had this thought like lined up. But
this reminds me of like at Lids. Like I have these conversations with customers, and they're just like standing there, and they're there in my store for like 45 minutes, just like talking, and that's how I just generate like returning customers.
I think that Kanye is like an athlete because he goes out and he performs, and he puts out content. And we can talk about the process after this, but right now I'm talking output and acclaim. So people are going to look at his on-field performance and be like, yo, fire, not fire, he scored, he didn't score, blah, 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 whatever. That actually like does not even matter for this right now. I think it's his off-the-field issues that kind of taint who he is. As a person and as a creative genius, so much more. Now, bringing it back to why he is a genius is I think it was some interview where he was talking about how he can see sound, or is it like feel sound, or like the way we see color, something like that.
It's called, I'm pretty sure it's called synesthesia, and it's like like if that's a real thing. Like I don't remember where I saw it, but it was like a thing where like they were talking to people that were just like they can taste the color, they can like you know. And I'm not, so I hate so this is what I hate. So the reason that I hate loving Kanye and that people know is because I hate using him as an example and then saying like, oh, that's how I feel, because then people think that I'm just saying it because I want to like kind of be like him.
Right.
But it's that like when I make music, for example, it's like it may not be a color like him, but it's just like a, oh, what did you think of when you heard? It's not like, oh, I thought
It's
of
a
like
wavelength.
yeah, it won't be like, oh, I thought of like you know, defeating all odds. It'll be like I pictured driving down a highway 100 miles an hour. That's it. Like that's just it. And the beat plus the words put together, like the sonics of it, and plus the effects and all that. That's what made it like more or less like that. And when I'm in the studio describing things, yeah, I can know the professional terms for these things, but I'll say like, yo, like put the reverb on, but I need it to sound like it's going through a washing machine. Like I need to sound heavy. And then you know what I mean? So I can understand like what he says when he says like, oh, I feel like a certain color, or me, it's like back in the day, I used to always tell people like I only listen to certain songs in the day and I listen to certain songs in the night, and certain songs to me are winter songs and certain songs are summer songs. And if you want to get more specific, certain songs are winter night songs and certain songs are, you know what I mean? Like
100%.
certain songs are hybrids and all that.
Yeah.
So like I can understand when he says that. But to me, the reason why I like him is just overall his story of just one, never giving up. And when you hear the stories, Jay and all of them are like, oh, at any moment he'd be like, yo, let me show you this, let me play you this, let me whatever.
Yeah.
And that he didn't box himself in. He was a producer. He came in as a crazy producer, and that grind itself was crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that on everything he did, like he wasn't supposed to be a rapper. He didn't come in being a rapper, right?
Yeah.
And the other, so there's three people in my life that I idolize, and that's Kanye, Tupac, and Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan and Kanye that I relate the same, being that, and Kanye brings up Jordan a lot in his music, is that the reason why I like Michael Jordan over LeBron James in general is because Jordan fits in that narrative of, you know, there's those greats where in sports, in life,
Psychopaths.
yes, yeah,
Obsessive. It's that over anything
but
else.
it's the ones where there was like Oprah was told she wasn't good for TV. The Beatles were told they weren't good. They wouldn't make it on
overcome
radio.
all odds
like,
type.
Like things that are like, what? Like
You weren't supposed to be. Like
like,
LeBron was supposed to be. And
he was
did.
watched when he was like 14, and he was like poor, and those were the things that he overcame. He didn't. I'm not saying he didn't overcome things, and that he didn't work hard and all these different things. But he's 6'8", 6'8", like he genetically was just built for that. At 14, they had new things at his games. Michael Jordan was off the radar until he hit the shot in NCAA, but still he was like, okay, then he hit the draft and that was it.
But even going back, like he didn't even make his, like everyone talks about, didn't even make his like basketball team.
So
in
when your coach says that at your tryout, usually you roll your eyes. Oh, it's a classic. So to me, the way I look at that story isn't like, oh, Michael Jordan got cut from his team and he worked hard and now he's great. To me, it's, what if Michael Jordan had made the team?
Yeah. Damn. That's deep. Shit. I never thought about that, actually. I can't say I've ever thought about what if they had happened if he made the team. Would he have gotten complacent? Would he maybe
because
not had that chip on his shoulder?
He said part of why he was upset was because in high school it's a status symbol and he didn't make it. So if he had made the team and the coach said didn't put on the team because he was 5'11", he said he just had no use for him. It wasn't even that he was bad. He just had no use for him at the time. Yeah. So he would have been a bench player at most. Then that's it. Been like, yeah, I'm on the ball team though. Waited for them to graduate. Maybe been good. But Michael Jordan is where he got to today because he didn't make the team. And he said, like in his movies, he said he never wanted to feel that type of pain ever again. That type of disappointment. So we have someone who's so great, not because he was genetically great and then practiced and all this and was hoped and seen to be number one.
Yeah.
2 other teams picked before him in the draft. And one got Hakeem Olajuwon, so they didn't do so bad. But like people were still willing to be like, like we don't need this guy.
Yeah.
And like he was on a team that was bad. Yeah. And then he was like, yo, 7 years of trying, 84 to 91. Yeah. Lost. But he always was still playing. And these guys that had rings and MVPs were saying, this guy's better than us. Before he even had a ring. Larry, Magic, all these guys were like, God, like he's better than us. Yeah. But they were like, but he doesn't have a ring though. And in his movies, he's like, that's when I decided I was gonna take this team to a chance. Like he decided, and that year people were like, yeah, he's gonna win this, and he beat Magic, and bro, he double three-peated. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
It's like when people hate on Brady.
Yeah.
I can't allow that. I don't even watch football like that, but like
Oh, that's what I was about to say. It's basically the same story.
Brady wasn't a prospect. I always ask football people, I'm like, yo, was Brady even like? They're like, no.
No, I went to Michigan this year, and I was like kind of asking a bit about like he went to Michigan. It's like, yeah, but they didn't really fuck with him
because
like
his
that.
pick in the NFL draft was like pretty
Sixth round,
and
199th overall.
You
pick.
know, so like, and then
but that's the chip on his shoulder. Like that's what, and even when he did get drafted, it was like, we'll put you behind this fucking stud,
exactly.
Drew Bledsoe, you know.
And
but anyways,
that's why I fuck with Kanye so much, is because just like Jordan, he had those moments where like there's videos of him after his jaw was put out and all this, and he's on the phone and he's like, yo, like I'm not playing, like this isn't a game, like because he felt like he wasn't being listened to, and a lot of it was just from him like banging on the door, being like, yo, you guys aren't like listening to me, like I'm not doing this for the baggy t-shirt and the jeans, like I'm doing this because I actually just love music, like I love, so you know, and I'm not saying I'm the only person around that thinks like that. But for me, it's just like it is. I can definitely say from making music, it is definitely difficult trying to separate yourself from being boxed in as like, oh, you're doing it for clout, you're doing it for fit, for just like the things that aren't important, and the things that people that know you aren't gonna really want to know that here I am working a job that I may or may not have wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I'm helping you skip out on all that to do bullshit. Like let's say I acted like Lil Pump, right? Or I wanted to be like Lil Pump. That's how I, or some artist like that, right? So yeah, he's up there, and it's amazing to be up there. But then at the same time, like,
what did you give up?
Yeah.
Are you even authentic to yourself anymore? When you're going to bed at night and you gotta be alone with your own thoughts, are you like, who the fuck am I?
That's what I mean.
Take off this.
Yeah, but for some people, like even locally that I know, like that's the route they want to take, and like to
each their own, bro.
To each their own, and they may even get somewhere before me, and that's okay. But for me, I'm there for longevity. Like I rather like my end goal isn't even like, oh, I want to be a rapper, get a label deal. It's not even about that. It's just I love to make music, but at the same time, all the promo clips that you've seen on my things, I make all of those because I taught myself Adobe. So pretty much all my cover arts, I edit those pictures. Like I'm self-sufficient in terms of like the only thing that I don't and can't do myself is making my music videos, producing beats, and recording, like actually like engineering and mastering my music. Yeah. But even when I make the songs, I don't just like write the thing and then go to the studio. I record it on GarageBand in my Mac because I taught myself how to do that, and I bought myself a little mic, and then I record it, reference track, play around with the effects, bring it to the producer, the engineer, and then they're just like, oh shit, like you're like, and
you're
then
serious
yeah,
about this.
and then they hear what I tried to do, and then they do it the right way, and then we build onto that. But at the same time, like my goal in the end is just to be like, I just do everything. And then don't forget, I did the modeling, the photos. So I haven't really been like doing it as much, but like that's another thing is like, you know, I do photos, I do modeling. In the future, like I also taught myself how to DJ. That's another thing because I love music. And when I go to clubs, like back in the day, like when I was single and stuff, I used to get girls and I'd be like, yo, like this song's coming on next. And then after they'd be like, what? And then it would come on next and they'd be like, what the? Like even just my boys, I'd be like, oh, they're playing this next, and they can't hear it. And they're like, oh shit, like how do you know? So I've always been like that. And I used to download the DJ app on my phone and put my music in and go plug the aux in my boy's car. Like an hour I'm just going on my phone.
So you know,
like,
I'm sensing a theme here that like, you know, with you, and this is actually the energy like I felt from you even before we even met or like talked or anything, is like you're kind of doing it for almost like different reasons and in your own lane and in your own way. But like the theme that I sense is that you actually fuck with the process.
Yeah.
And like you hear like the Gary V types and these type like hustle mentality, people talk about it. But if you strip away all the bullshit and listen to the message, it's very pure and it's very true. It's like if you're actually enjoying what you're doing, the process of it, like
it's not
outcome doesn't even matter.
Like
money, fame, success, anything that you could want later, it'll come inevitably.
Exactly.
Like it will. Like if you are loving the process this much, it might not even be rap, bro. You might even be like the top, like, we don't even know what the future has in store for creators.
Exactly. Because like one thing I plan to do is like, okay, so then through people I know.
Sorry, one sec. You mind getting me another drink? You want one too?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Through people I know, it's like now the next step, let's say for DJing, is I'd love to start DJing at clubs in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Then that's not even about rapping. That's just DJing. Like because I feel like on a DJ side, like there's songs that I feel like DJs don't play. I feel like there's so many things that are missed and people just lean to the basic, generic filler song and this and this. But I even have filler songs that people love but don't even remember and wouldn't even think of playing. And back in the day when I would go to the clubs, I befriended so many DJs because I was the guy where I would lean up beside the thing and I would be like, but instead of just saying play this, I would tell them to play a song that mixes with the song that they're playing right now. And they would be like, oh shit, that's a good idea. Or they'd be like, I don't have the song. But like when I would do it and I would wait and I'd actually hear the song play and I'd be like, yo, these guys are taking my
It wouldn't be just the obnoxious brown dude.
Yeah,
like, yo, bro,
exactly.
play this Kodak Black. It's like
I would be like, bro, like this fits the vibe. Yeah. I know you should have this, and people
play the song, and here's why. 5 points.
You know, there we go. Like I'm that guy, and the next thing you know, I'm beside the DJ in the booth, and every time I come, I'm like, yo, what's good? So that's kind of like why, again, with Kanye is the fact that he does fashion, music, rapping, production, all these different things all at once, but like he puts his all into it to where it always comes off like I love watching anything from him in a way. But at the same time, like now with everything that he's been saying and going through and all that,
off the field issues, bro.
That's the thing. It's crazy though because
but that's just, you gotta take the package, bro. It's just a person. It's just like he's gonna have his I don't even know what to call it.
Like, I mean, let me ask you: are you someone that do you separate the artist from the art? Like, are you one of those? Like, obviously, there's a line that gets drawn, but like,
I think we're all just human, bro.
Okay.
I really do just think that like Antonio Brown going and doing his thing and going crazy. It's like, yo, he's just things happened,
right?
That doesn't change. To answer your question, it's hard because I think I actually do separate it, but I don't want to. I don't want to admit that actually I do kind of separate it. Like I look at Antonio Brown, the athlete, and then I look at the antics.
Yeah, of course.
But to me, it's just a person going through it, and then you can't put anyone in that situation and expect yourself to not do things that would upset the masses. So, sorry? Chris Brown, like, it's hard, bro. Like,
well, it's like, for me, it's like
you are still your actions, though.
Of course.
But at the same time, it's...
So are we about to talk about cancel culture? So, like, all this... Okay, so, like, all this outrage and stuff. Like, for me, it's like... It depends what it is, of course. But I find, like, for example, like, even with... Let's start from the beginning. So the whole Kanye thing. The moment when I said, yo, like he may have like, cause the Taylor thing, that was like whatever. All that stuff, you know, the life of Pablo when he's beefing Amber Rose and said that thing about Wiz, like that was just like whatever.
Yeah.
But when he started saying all the Trump stuff and all that stuff, I was like, okay, yo, I really think like people actually aren't fucking with him anymore. But it's basically what I see it as
thanks, bro.
I basically see it as when you don't like somebody and everything they say and everything they do you just pick at, but you know, like you'll be like, yo, I was at work today with this person and he said like this and this and this, and it's something that's like, okay, it was whack, but like it wasn't a big deal. And if your boy had said it, you would have either laughed it off or ignored it, you know what I mean? So for example, when he said the whole slavery is a choice thing, I have people that are like, oh, I don't like Kanye because he said slavery is a choice. And I'm like, hey, come on. Do you really think that he just said like slavery was a choice? What I took it as, and then this is what I mean by I hate people knowing that I love him, is that people then automatically say, oh, I'm trying to stand for him and just defend him. But for me, I defend what's right and I defend what's wrong, no matter who they are. And what I was saying was right away, just because I think about things that way, when he said that, I was thinking,
Well, what's he trying to say?
So, of when he said, "Oh, slavery, that's a choice," blah blah blah. So what I took it out as was when you have people like Harriet Tubman, people like Nat Turner, people who rebelled. Those are people who chose to not remain as slaves because yes, they were mentally enslaved by fear tactics. If you try to escape, this is what will happen to you. All the cruel things that were happening to the slaves. So I'm not saying they, and I don't think Ye was saying like they didn't have the right to be afraid to not try to escape.
They just didn't do anything otherwise
Because they allowed themselves to remain under the slave thing. But people that escaped said to themselves, I'm not a slave. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. And they escaped. So that's how I took it.
Fair.
But when he said, "Oh, slavery, that sounds like a choice to me." Of course, that's a bold, like, just headline. That's a headline worthy thing to say.
Yeah,
like
man.
TMZ, what's interesting is TMZ had 3 cuts of that video. The short one,
I watched the long one.
the long one, and the long one.
I think I watched the long one because it was like 3-4 minutes.
So
as opposed to the 30-second one.
So there's one that was like a minute to 5 minutes. Then there was one that was like 10 to 12, 15 minutes. And then there was one that was like 30 minutes. And
Definitely didn't
what's
see that.
ironic is the longest one that explained the most context had the least amount of views. The shortest one had the most.
Dude, that just speaks to our
You know what I
attention
mean?
spans and clickbait and
Exactly. So, but then again, as a fan, like I'm not a crazy like fan. Like I've dealt with like I really engage in like Twitter like arguments and stuff. Like people who defend like Nicki Minaj stands or like all those people. But like I'm willing to say like yeah, he doesn't say things the right way a lot of the time.
yeah.
But I saw this thread where all these celebrities and rappers were like Dave Chappelle was like, I know he doesn't always say things right, but I just know his intent is always right. Like I just trust the brother.
Right.
Like, he's like, I just trust it.
I wouldn't say something like that. Person, I wouldn't say his intent is always right, but
of course.
you gotta watch and see what the intent is.
Exactly.
Because that's so important. Intent is everything.
Right.
Context is everything.
Right.
If I like say, "Hey, my N word" to you, and we're boys,
Right.
and I say it, and it's all good
Mhm.
and whatever, you're not gonna go and be like, you know what Deepak said to me, bro? You know what this guy said?
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
this fucking brown dude.
Right.
But then, if I then go in a fucking like hard R,
Yeah,
like, hey
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Then
it'd be like, yo, what's up?
Yeah,
with
I'd be
this
like, yo, relax.
Deepak guy,
Yeah.
bro. This guy's on some, but like, intent, context, it really does matter. But coming
And then-
back to
and then-
cancel culture,
And then another, so now Ye's in cancel culture, right? So I'll use him as an example. He was canceled. So now everything he said and everything he did was bad. When the wildfires happened in California, he dropped like a Yeezy launch for like this, like the pants and whatever, not even the shoes. And all the proceeds, not all, but like a certain percent of the proceeds went to the wildfires.
Okay.
People were like, "Oh, this is just
marketing,
marketing,
yeah.
blah blah blah." I forget who it was, but someone classic. Police shot a black person, whatever, and he paid for the funeral and the GoFundMe, like he donated like a lot of money, and he just put his name there, but he didn't like go to the press. He just donated and put his name. And then the press picked up on it, or the family was like, "Oh shit, Kanye West donated $10,000," and then the news said Kanye West donates whatever, and then people are like, "Oh, like doing it for attention, that tax rebate, all these things."
look, people are gonna find whatever, man.
So then he says, "Abolish the 13th Amendment," and people think he's saying bring slavery back. When all he's saying is that, like, then this is what I mean by this is what happens when he's saying he's a free thinker, and when I say I'm a free thinker, I just mean like. Even if I see an opposition, like I'm not a Trump supporter, but a lot of the things that I see Trump supporters argue, like I can take the side of a Trump supporter and argue their side as if I support Trump, and people will think I support him when I'm just saying no, I just understand their side so that now I can argue both, like I just get both sides.
That's one of the most important skills, I think, like in general, as a rational human who wants to look at things
like
from
why would
both
you not
sides.
want to why would you not want to like for
Well, I'll
me,
tell you what, because I actually literally googled the fallacy, like what it's called
see,
when
like, yo, DFAC, those are the things I'm into. It's like I learned one called Catch 22.
right.
And Catch 22 is like saying like you need retail experience, but how do you get retail experience
If
if
no
you
one
don't?
gives you experience.
Exactly.
So
Like,
this one's called the ad hominem attack. It's
yes,
the
okay,
personal attack.
that happens in
Attacking
politics a lot.
exactly. It's attacking the person and not what they are actually saying.
And I'm guessing ad hominem is Latin and the roots
Probably.
mean, you know what I like?
See, you see,
Yo.
I just do the quick surface check. Just got what info I
Yo.
needed. You would go and do like 7 articles.
I would just
about-
be like, I would actually see now just on some extra shit. I would be like, wait, what does ad hominem mean like in Latin? Like, you know, like how like monotone means like mono is one.
yeah.
Like I want to know ad hominem. What does that have to do with the explanation you're about to
Well,
say?
I'll tell you, we're already over an hour, so let's not do that. But getting back to getting back to Kanye and cancel culture and all this, it is important to take everything that all your information in your information diet, which it is a diet. You are consuming information at a rate that human civilization has never seen. The amount of information that it's hitting us in the face all the time. You have a responsibility as someone who wants to actually sort out if someone should be canceled or not, because you're still gonna always make these rationalizations and these judgments because we are human,
Right.
and we like to categorize things. Is this guy a bad person? Is this guy Harvey Weinstein, or is he, I don't know, like someone who did something that's probably not even really all that bad? Like, have you heard of that comedian Louis C.K.?
Oh my god.
So apparently he whipped out his dick and
he
to
would
jerk
ask
off.
girls if he could jerk off,
Yeah.
and they would say yes or whatever
Yeah,
because they
full
felt like
consent, like
they felt like
everything.
they had to because of his stature, and they were up and coming comedians.
Right.
That was the story.
I could not equate what he did, and we could talk about whatever he did when whatnot, but I would not equate that to like a Bill Cosby or like a. Okay. You know what? I know you're coming with some conspiracies. I know. Okay, we'll go there next. Let's finish up this point. But on on some Louis C.K. versus Harvey Weinstein, if we're to make it that clean for this example, for this discussion,
Right.
You know that one is worse than the other, but both people are like canceled.
But at what point does Louis C.K. like not get like? Is he forever canceled?
I think he's uncanceled now.
Yeah, but like that's what I mean. Like, it's just the fact that it's so cringy to me. Like, there's so many examples. Like, some are like 100%. Like, I don't know, Jared, the Subway guy, or different ones like that. Those are like R. Kelly. I can support that, but it's just. But then even with that, when I'll read into people who defend him, they'll be like, oh, how come they rush to R. Kelly, who's someone where they have that gray area of a case?
I don't like that argument, though.
I'll tell you this. It's the fact that, like, I still stand by what I stand by. But it's the fact that they'll say, how come they were quick to rush, get the documentary, all these different things on R. Kelly. Meanwhile, Harvey Weinstein is the person that has evidence from celebrity women. Angelina Jolie. Like
You know he got away with it too? It was a settlement?
Yeah, he settled and like
he settled and it's like no admission of guilt.
You know, that's what I'm saying. So how come it was like Harvey Weinstein, we kind of forgot about all that, but R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and all these people caught heat, Louis C.K., when Harvey Weinstein was one, the biggest one, two, his victims were like fate, like Angelina Jolie, Lupita, like I'm talking like people like that, and then the people who say, "Oh, I kind of knew about this, and I'm sorry." Like these are all Meryl Streep, like famous people that knew about this, but then the people who had victims and whatnot, they got dealt with quicker. But then the person who was like Hollywood, and now he's out here saying, "Oh, I feel like I was like," he's out here saying the most
outlandish,
like bold things, like you must be nuts, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. That's just the time of things. But those are ones where like I wouldn't be willing to like call that like cancel culture and like roll my eyes at it. It's more like the things that are like,
I found a tweet that you tweeted
yeah,
out in
like the
2011.
remember the Kevin
Kevin
Hart one
Hart.
with the Grammys
That's
and
perfect.
and
That's a
how
perfect
he
example.
said the whole thing about, oh, if my son was gay, I would beat him with a dollhouse or something like that. And then after he already apologized for it years before, and then when he's hosting the Grammys, people went back and said we don't want him hosting because he said that. And then after he's
Yeah,
like,
it's
I've
problematic.
already apologized and addressed this, so this is why I'm not on it. And then it was like, oh, he's not apologizing. And then the Grammys were like, if you don't apologize, you'll be off. So it's like, okay, I don't want to do it. And then now all of a sudden the Grammys like, no, come back, or you know what I mean? So it's just like,
Yeah.
that's where it's like that type of cancel, or one of my favorite, Jussie. Like that was like one of
Jussie
those.
Smollett,
Oh,
yeah.
that was one of those where it was just like how quick it was to
On
jump
one
at those
way.
things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even with the whole Trump thing, like I am by no means in support of him, but it's like, for example, like it's those things where it's almost like they fall for it, and it's like you just fell for the trap. Like
Yeah, man.
like there was one thing that one time that the Paralympics were on, and the headline said like the left. I hate saying left and right, but like the people who are liberal and all that, like super anti-Trump, were like, Trump said, "Oh, the Paralympics, like I didn't have time to watch it. I had a hard time watching it because they're special, Paralympics." So they were trying to say that Trump was saying I had a hard time watching the Paralympics because they're Special Olympics. But the full thing was him saying he had a hard time watching it because of his scheduling. He didn't have time to sit and watch it. That was it. And already people were, oh, this guy is crazy. He's making fun of Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And then they lose track of the things where
Yeah.
that becomes a thing. But at the same time, like he actually had things where had they focused on this, it would have probably got more info on the suspicious things he's doing. So that's where I don't support the things where he actually does do shady things and suspicious things. But I feel like sometimes this cancel culture and all these things, they fall for and jump at the most like trivial things.
Here's the thing.
That are just like, we already know he's this, and we already know
Yeah.
he's willing to say these sleazy things.
So
like,
they're just gonna keep getting the clicks and the headlines, and I get that. But here's the thing: can you expect the average citizen and person who is just watching CNN and Fox News, one or the other or whatever, can you expect them to sit down, take the headline from what they believe to be a source of journalistic integrity, which take that, download it, be like, okay, this is one source. I need 10 more. I need to slice and dice and analyze and see. You see, so you looked into that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expect,
like some things, of course, I've taken like mad effort into.
Yeah, but can you expect everyone? So here's where you might not agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even watch the news.
Okay.
I straight up don't have the energy or the capacity or the, what do you call it, the CPU. Like, I don't care.
But do you
I know what's going on because people will tell me what's important. Oh, yo, Trump got impeached. I'm like, yeah, he got impeached, but do you know what that means?
Okay.
Because if you get impeached, that does not actually mean that
Exactly.
the president's been impeached before.
Right?
But it's gotta go through the Senate, and a lot of
Exactly.
things that gotta happen.
But that's what I mean. But then,
But I'm not
would
gonna
you go-
watch the live coverage like CNN. Yo. Oh, he's got impeached, and tweet about it and write an article about it, and like, I don't have time.
But
I'm
not even asking you to do that. But it's the fact that the next person will go ahead, spread the news that Trump got impeached, but they're thinking it means that he's out, like he's done, he's out.
Right.
Like they push something they don't know. For example, like when Greta or whatever came to Ottawa and people were just marching, like people were saying like go up
She
to some
came to
people,
Ottawa?
go up to some people.
didn't know.
I'm pretty sure she did. I think so. She came to Parliament or something.
I guess so.
And people were protesting. So it'd be like, go up to people and be like, yo, what are you protesting for? And a lot of people didn't know what they were really like just there for. And the same thing within the States, like March for Our Lives. It was the same thing where they'd be like, what are you protesting for? And then they'd be like, this and this and this. Or when you ask people when it comes to like the gun laws, they'd be like, they'll be
ban the
like
guns.
they'll ask like, so like ban what guns? And they'll be like, ban assault rifles and whatever. And then it's like, well, assault rifles are
already banned.
Exactly. It's the fact that there's a bump stock which makes it automatic, which will make a semi-automatic automatic. That's
Yeah.
what they need to ban, the bump
Yeah.
stock. That's an example of how people will just be marching and saying we need to ban assault rifles. There's no need for assault rifles in our communities, but they're illegal. So, but then on top of that, but then I'll be able to then bounce back to the other side and be like, oh, but then also the problem is that at gun shows, people will illegally purchase them through there. That's an example of how an assault rifle will get into a household. But those are the things that I'll know one step further than.
Right.
But I'm not willing to jump on a bandwagon just because other people are.
Aren't there too many issues, bro? Aren't there too
lot.
many things to have to care about?
That's what I
So
mean.
that's why I almost care about none of them. This is so fucked up, and this is gonna get me canceled.
It's like
this is me right now. Cancel Deepak. Hashtag.
It's like when something
use the cancel. It's not that deep.
It's like, you know, when
Bro.
something happens and then they go. Meanwhile, when you guys are worrying about this other disaster happened.
It's like, bro,
whatever.
like one is more like I'm like, bro, look, I'm not gonna do anything because I can't.
Exactly.
But when I get the bag and when I'm a fucking billionaire, then I'll do some shit.
Exactly.
I'll become a philanthropist then.
Exactly.
But right now, it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do about this?
That's the thing.
It's like, yo, retweet what's happening in Iran. Or retweet this. It's like, I could, but then what happens if I don't retweet what happens in Yemen? Or what happens if I don't? You're Russian, this person.
That's why one of my favorite shows is South Park, because they do such an amazing job at like taking, like they had this guy named PC Principal, and they show how like extra PC people may be, let's say. So like they had these, like PC has this wife and she's PC as well, and they have these babies and they're PC as well. So they're like in a room and then the babies start crying and they're like, oh, what's wrong? They run in, they're like, oh, the mom's like, I left Disney Plus on. She's like, and Mulan's playing. And then the dad's like, oh, he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, well, you know. She's like, oh, well, you know. She's like, well, you know the issue. Mulan touches on trans issues, but they don't really focus on the real issue. Like they're super extra. Like everything is like, you know. But he's super tough, and he holds the mic like a WWE guy, and he has like the slim shades, and he'll be like, oh, you do not perpetuate. That's a racial stereotype. Like he's super extra like that, and it's just like sometimes when I see it, it's funny, like how like these days like comedians have to apologize for things.
It's so funny, and you know who's the best at dealing with it? Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle to me is the GOAT because he takes it, makes it funny, and then dumbass people will still write articles about him being
like
problematic.
His last stand up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Dave Chappelle goes for everybody.
He's like,
his
you know what?
black jokes are some of the funniest ones.
Yeah.
Because he knows black people the best. His white jokes are funny because he does the voice.
Killing Me Softly, GOAT.
That's the one when he has the blue shirt on?
Blue shirt.
When he
Yeah.
I didn't know I could do that.
My cousin could quote that fucking special word for word.
The thing is, I did know I could do that.
Dave is the GOAT, bro.
That's the thing. I watched.
If I get Dave Chappelle on my podcast, I made it.
There's a good YouTube video that's called how Dave Chappelle dodges laser beams in comedy.
Okay.
And is saying how he breaks the thing from everyone. How Kevin Hart, his strong suit is telling stories about himself in an exaggerated way. But
that's why people say that Kevin Hart is not as funny anymore because now he made it.
Exactly.
And his problems are not relatable to the everyday person.
But his old stories about his kid and Spider-Man and all those
short
things.
and getting in fights and this and that. It's like, oh,
when he was a kid. But Chappelle can always, and the thing about Chappelle is he, like, they're like in his recent stand-up, like he would say stuff like where he'd be like, "Oh, my community is full of white people," and he'd be like, "What, you thought I live in the ghetto? I'm rich." like he just says things like, the way. The only thing about Chappelle is that he got bigger.
Art school.
he got bigger,
and
his voice is all like dry now. But when he used to be skinny, and he would like, there's a stand-up he did in San Francisco. And he was like, he's like, my white friend was like, you visit Alcatraz? And I was like, what kind of nigga visits a jail for
fun?
Recreation? He's like, yeah, they'll see me and be like, by the way, you fit a description. Like, you know, like Chappelle is like by far.
To me, the GOAT.
And then, for example, that's where when people are like, oh, Kevin Hart's the GOAT, Kevin Hart's funny. I'm just like, you guys don't know. It's like,
but then people could say to us, like, Richard Pryor, or like,
but then even those people like Eddie Murphy, Rod Delirious, those guys were like hilarious. I just think Chappelle is
his
the
delivery
main.
So
it's
chill.
It's the way he says things, the way
he doesn't seem nervous at all. He's
you know,
like, I'm just here to tell a joke. When he hits the mic,
when he says things, when he goes like this, when he goes. Or when he he runs back up to the steps and then comes back down. He always does the.
Yeah,
like
I love the cigarette.
He does a cigarette.
It's so gangster that he just straight up I'm not apologizing for shit. I'm just gonna sit here and smoke this bogey.
Like
Anyways, bro,
Yeah,
it's too funny, man. But,
but
wrapping it all back to it though.
back to the music. We'll finish off with the music.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
But musically, like what you were saying about like what makes me keep going, it's always like one of my favorite. I always talk in like analogy terms. I always like to say my favorite thing is like relating things that I know other people can relate to and then be like, it's just like this. So my thing that I've always said about music and what makes me keep going is like, it's like going to the gym, right? So you go to the gym for yourself, to get fit, to get buff, to lose weight, whatever. It's ultimately to impact yourself.
Yeah.
But on the way there, you may tell people, "Hey, I'm at the gym." You may tell on your story going to the gym, and you may have people be like, sure, we'll see how long that lasts, or we'll see how much weight that." I have so many people on my page where I followed them and they start to do the journey, and I'm like, like okay. And then later on, I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Like, cause way later I forgot, and now I'm looking and I'm like, yo, like you've actually lost weight and you stuck to it. So it's like with every song that I put out, I may not get that many plays. It may get a lot of plays. It may get, okay, that's what I expected. But with every stranger, every person like you and other people that come to my shows and like that, it's just equivalent to being at the gym and having the, yo, you been working out?
Yeah.
And getting the, woo,
Yeah.
and people are grabbing your arm and you're like, yeah,
Validation.
like, you know what I mean? But with or without the validation, if you're one of those people, you'll still go to the gym, right? You don't need the validation.
No.
But the validation is something that's just like, yeah, I'm doing this shit right.
Yep.
And then you just keep doing it. So with me and music, like my motivations are just like Ye dropped Jesus is King. I heard some of the songs. I loved them. I was happy he was inspired. I was happy that he was feeling how he felt. I heard beats. I felt inspired to write my own shit. And that's it. Like I may go to a performance for someone else and see the reaction. But okay, like in a competitive way, like, so this is what they're on. Okay, this is the type of music they put. Okay, and then now I hear a new beat, and I'm like, not even like to say that I get inspired by what they made, but it's just it inspired the competition to spark the creativity to try to top them, even though they don't even know that I'm trying to top them in a way, and they may never ever know. So it's just these different things where you may go to the gym and see the guy that you always go to the gym, and he's always at the gym, and he's way bigger than you, and he uses the weights way bigger than you, and then now you're just like, yo, like that's my goal. I'm gonna get up to him, like. And now what's crazy was when I started making music, I used to be like, yo, I make music, but like I would never like perform. Like, oh yeah, I make music, but like I'm not trying to do performances. Yeah, I make music, and then it got to a point where like all the things that I pictured and imagined, whether it's people that I wished would talk to me or notice me or that would take photos of me or feature me in their music or all these things way back when I started, now they're like, yo, like they're coming at me and it's like, those are things that I just set for myself and I'm like, yo,
I can relate to that with the podcast.
there we go. Where you probably had people where you may have even asked them and said, yo, be on the podcast. Or you may not have asked and hoped that maybe one day you could. And they're like, yo, I saw this episode. This is dope. Or they shared it without you asking. And it's just like, yo.
It's this weird form of just like, yo, I'm just doing my thing and I'm getting all this support from all these people.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm going to just keep doing it regardless. Even if one episode like fucking flops and 0 people watch it, this is part of the process.
Exactly.
Part of the journey. We're just like, we're just learning and growing.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a better conversationalist.
There we go.
I don't want to say interviewer because I feel like I didn't interview you today.
We had a conversation.
I didn't have a set amount of questions.
Right.
You can even look. Like literally, I asked you before, give me a few bullet points.
Yeah.
Bro, that's all. I just want to talk. And like, that's the thing. But it all comes down to just trusting the process. And I love that you have this this mindset when it comes to the music and creating. Because if you get too caught up in that validation and like, oh, yo, SoundCloud didn't fuck with this track, I think I might not be cut out for this.
But it goes both ways. That if I get a lot of love. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I get a lot of love. For someone like to be grateful enough, I get a lot of love. For someone that seeks a lot, I don't get enough love. So it's like, I get DMs from the people that don't know me at all. Like, yo, I got people in London. Like, I have those little people that 1 or 2 from that I'm like, whoa, like, how are they even listening to me? Yeah. People when I'm at work, just like, yo, you make music? You're Lance Lorenzo? And I say, yo, my friend, we went to Montreal in the summer, and someone in Montreal, we were walking downtown, and they were like, yo, my first song with me and Cass, they were like, yo, didn't you guys make New Day? And I wasn't there, but my boys were like, yo, someone came up to Cass and was like, yo, you're on that song with Lance Lorenzo. And I was like, no way. So it's the surreality of like, yo,
You're
people,
making an impact in people's
like
lives,
people
bro.
come up to me and they're like, yo, I know you, or yo, I met you I saw you at this performance, and these are performances that I thought didn't even matter. Like it's when you start to impact people without even knowing or without trying, that it's just like, whoa, this is weird. And that's why with my music peers, when I always want to like see if people are serious, I'll be like, yo, like if there was no internet, would you keep doing this? Like be honest. And they're like, you know.
Really?
Because that's a fact. If there was no internet,
I
would still do that. You're a little bit different because you like, you know, podcasts grew with internet. But
That's
for
pretty
me,
much the same thing as a radio show, though. If
Yeah.
you were to equate it to something similar,
if there was no internet and they're like, okay, you have to go back to like going to Ottawa U Studio Campus CHUO, would you do it? Would you still do this? Would you try to get a radio slot doing this?
yeah, I did. I went on their show and I loved it. It was fun, but I just don't like the fact that there's ads. And
Oh, exactly.
it feels so forced, and it's like, so Lance, tell us like in 15 seconds or less, like your whole journey.
It's funny because you have the kind of have the voice for it. That's funny, but that's what I mean. It's like, even when I make music, I don't make music just like, oh, I never wanted to make music and be like, oh, someone hears it and they're just like, this is like Travis Scott flow, or this is like, you may be able to, if you're like musically inclined like me, you may be like and I don't mean that in like a really cocky way. I hate the way I said that, but just but just to be like, oh, some people have heard a bar or heard a thing and been like, oh, like I got Kanye vibes from it, and I'm like, yeah, like that inspired.
We are all influenced by people.
know?
People like to say, yo, you got a whole Joe Rogan thing going on here. I'm like, yeah, I love Joe Rogan. I'll never be Joe Rogan.
But if you start to, let's say Joe Budden is your inspiration, and now you start doing instead of a gunshot, it's a bomb drop, and you're going,
yeah.
Then it's just kind of like, and you start acting like him, new D-Pack, you know what I mean? All these different things. That's where it's like, okay,
right,
like
bro, what's
now,
going on here? Imagine if you started wearing a MAGA hat.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? And that's what I mean. So I'll have a lot of songs where I can probably tell you how I was inspired by Ye, whether it's like,
there should be no shame in getting inspiration as long as you're not copying the whole thing.
That's the thing.
Right?
But other people will, like, because this is the thing I find we've done with our generation is we've seen how easy it is to make it in a way. Lil Nas X, these different ways where it's like
6ix9ine.
you just made it like this. So now people are like, okay, if I make music, it's not about making the music good. It's about the antics. It's about how I get myself out there and all these tactics.
So I struggle with this.
Exactly.
Because of TikTok.
Right.
I see this app and I see these 15-year-olds throwing an egg at your face and going viral and just doing the dumbest shit, or the soda. Or
I got hoes.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie, those ones kill me because they're just so foolish.
I've never said these people are not funny.
But
I never said they're not funny.
Enough to be famous?
Bro, some of them, Logan Paul, off Vine. Look what he's created. This guy's out here doing professional boxing matches.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got all the, like, you know what I'm saying? TikTok is the next one. You're gonna know about.
Yeah.
I don't know the names. Bryce.
No, I don't have the app, to be honest. I only see.
And here's the problem. You're gonna get it.
Eventually, I will. Yeah.
And we're gonna be late to the wave these youngins. There's already a Billy on the platform.
Because I remember when it was actually for kids, and it was just like singing and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
And like, what's crazy? So this is where I always think the third step. Like, it's just the fact that, like, you know, on social media these days, like, there will be a new app. Like, there could be a completely new app. Like, TikTok is pretty much like Vine in a way, but different and longer. But let's say there's a completely new app. It's a new presentation of Instagram in a way that we show how our lives are doing, right?
Right.
So the way that these things amaze me is that it always starts off at zero. And then at some point, there's these people that just build on, like Vine. Vine was like, everyone was like, so remember, before Vine, there was a thing called Cinemagram. And Cinemagram was like these, like, it was kind of like boomerangs.
Okay.
But there was sound and shit to it too. But it was, I think, longer than Vine. And then Vine took over. And Vine was like 6 seconds. So everyone had the fair playing ground, square one. And then slowly, somehow, King Batch and Jerry,
King
all these
Batch, all these
people
guys, yeah.
started to, oh, what if you film it with a professional camera, export it to your computer, put it on your phone, and then upload it to Vine? So now they're playing in a totally different realm where they're editing. Even just people who have talent Vine things where they were doing things in 6 seconds. The vape when they were vaping shit and they were doing the tricks, like all those things. And then slowly there became niches, and then there became different things. And now there's like now it's like we can start TikTok and we can make videos too, but we're too late. We won't start the wave.
I'm not
because,
saying
you know
it's
what I mean?
too late. I'm saying though, like there's a wave, and if you want to be a pioneer and you want it easiest with the least amount of effort,
Right.
most results, you have to have, like, imagine, okay, remember Instagram like 2 years ago,
Yes.
or like 2 years ago.
Yes.
I feel like Instagram peaked.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like that's
when the layout changed.
the layout changed, and they got stories, and now people were kind of not done with Snapchat. And mind you, I'm talking about our age group. Kind of like, I don't know about Instagram, or I don't know about Snapchat. Snapchat's more for other reasons now.
Don't you find it weird that at first Instagram stories was getting roasted for copying Snapchat?
Everyone
And-
put their own Snapchat on.
And then coincidentally, like Kylie, Rihanna, and all these celebrities spoke down on Snapchat. And then that was one part of the transition.
I didn't know
the
that
layout.
happened.
The layout coincidentally changed, and everyone was like, "Oh, I'm done with Snapchat." All this different stuff.
Oh, so we're getting into conspiracies.
Oh,
now.
like even with Instagram. Remember when we were roasting the 15 seconds video because the Vine was better, and we were like, "Yo, like Vines are better."
Then
Why
they got
would-
1 minute.
and then they got longer. But even before they got longer, we were like, we don't like 15 seconds is longer, but like it's not as funny. Like Vines are better.
Vines are better
And
because
then
only 6.
and then what happened? Zuckerberg bought Vine, ran it for a few months, he killed it, and then
Did he?
What's owned by
Wait, wasn't Vine Twitter?
Vine got bought by Facebook,
Really?
and then it got killed by Facebook.
Oh, I didn't know that, bro. Today I
And
learned.
then
I thought Vine just died.
but Instagram was owned by Facebook at that time. So they
Yeah.
killed their own competition so that Instagram videos would be better.
Oh,
15
shit.
seconds was cool for us. Celebrities had 1 minute. Then they introduced 1 minute. Then stories became like Instagram is trying to become basically like lately like rappers are putting their whole music video on IGTV. So
Because
like
now it's trying to
because
kill
YouTube isn't Facebook. That's really hard to do. But they're just trying to make it so that for content creators, Instagram, like I always hated when people would hate on the Instagram algorithm and be like, "Oh, the algorithm's fucking up my likes." Like, do you understand the Instagram algorithm? Like, do you
Not
actually?
really,
Okay,
bro.
so once and for all. So to me, this is what I get from it. Instagram algorithm is for content creators more than just like shit posting. So the way it works is me and you, we're friends on Instagram. You like a lot of my content. Every picture I post, you like. You're gonna always see my photos first. If I like a lot of your photos, I'm gonna see your shit at the top of my page.
Because there's just too many people for you to
Right.
see everyone's content.
So what they do is they maximize the important posts. So that's why when university grads are around, birthdays, New Year's, watch on New Year's. Wait and see how long, like 3 days after, you'll still see that girl posted up by the New Year post. You're still, because if she got 400 likes, that tells Instagram a lot of people like this photo. So let's say I post a picture. So I just posted a picture a few days ago, and it was me by the pool, and I got like 100 likes within like the first hour. So that tells Instagram within the first hour, 100 people liked this photo, and these first 100 people were people that always like his stuff and that saw it. So sometimes there's regulars of mine that may not like a photo of mine, and I'm like, oh, whatever, they just missed it. But if that picture catches on quick to my main circle, my group, MLB, my whatever, my coworkers, all the people that always like my stuff, it catches on with them. They comment, all these things. Now it says, okay, let's jump it to the people that sometimes like your photos. So now it'll jump over to the person who likes this photo, but then won't like my next photo for another thing. Now the person also, if you watch all my stories, all those different things play a part. If I comment on your stuff, that's why people comment so much, or you'll see those people on like complex videos that always call like Supreme Patty and all those guys comment bullshit things. It's to keep their engagement up where you always see their accounts. So now if that photo's doing well amongst my first circle, now it brings it to the next round of people. Now if it picks up with those people, it goes to the further people. And that's why sometimes you're like, yo, this person hasn't liked my picture in a minute, and now they liked it. It's because your picture is that fire or whatever that is traveling out to the people that don't normally like your stuff.
I feel
That's
so
how
dumb right now.
That's how Instagram works these days.
I mean, I knew it,
that's why
but I didn't know
that's why when
that
you,
it jumps to
yeah.
levels. I always like thought about like maybe it's just a fire photo.
Yeah, but that's why in a way it is though. Like Instagram just believes that if I post a photo and it only gets 40 likes in the first hour, it may not reach you if you don't like all my photos all the time and whatever. But if I graduated and I get 250 likes within the first hour because everyone's so happy for me, it's gonna come to you because it's saying, well, let's say the algorithm's not smart enough to say, well, we don't know what kind of photo this is, but it's getting a lot of action. Let's share it to people who in our algorithm don't usually care for Deepak's stuff.
Yeah, and so comments are really important for that.
Yes, and that's why you're supposed to reply your comments right away.
Yeah.
Because if you wait and then reply, when you reply right away within the first hour, that's engagement. That's a reach. That's insights. So now it'll say, okay, let's show it to more of these people. And then that's a thing. So like,
but it's almost creating this fucking weird expectation. Like, let's take it back to the human side of things now.
of course,
not
where it was
algorithm,
like in
where
order.
I just gotta be sitting on my app watching the likes roll in. And I'm the type of person, I'll post something, I won't even check, bro. Like, I'll obviously check. Like, I'm not a psychopath who just turns his phone off and like, let us see what happens.
I do that for a bit. I distract myself.
But I do something else, and I come back and see like, okay,
but now,
yeah, what happened?
But now that the likes are gone, it's more of like, so if you're a psycho and you're self-conscious about likes and all that, you can still be it. But the reason why I like the fact that there's no likes is the fact that if I want to post multiple things, I can, and other people won't know did it like because that influences
did it do
people.
well or not?
That influences people.
It does.
But they'll never know unless you go into the others and you scroll. Then you'll know.
Yeah.
But only a psychopath would do that. You know what I mean?
Well, what happens if they get rid of followers?
That would be crazy.
That'd be nuts.
And
for
the
a
thing
lot of
is,
people, because that's kind of the metric now.
But the thing is, like, so it is unfortunate that like that's Instagram's logic, but it's because they're shifting with the times of they want YouTube creators to have their like they don't want to be the side bitch. They don't want YouTube creators and all us artists and shit to just have our Instagram. Oh, this is just for photos. I put the link in my bio. You jump the link from Instagram to YouTube. They want everything to hopefully be within there.
Yeah.
So if I have a music video, it can stay on IGTV, so you're still in the app.
Yeah.
You can check my story for Q&A, so I don't have to make a Q&A video on YouTube. Saves me a lot of time. Like that's what they're trying to do nowadays. The same way that like Snapchat decided to try to have like news channels in their story panel and all this extra shit. You know what I mean? So like
which
nowadays,
I've never looked at a single one.
you know, it's like now it's like streaming services. Everyone was big on Netflix, and then nowadays like South Park did it again, where the dad was like this cable guy. He was like a cable repairman, and he was like cheesed at streaming services. And he was like, what's the point? He's like, everyone just ends up streaming, buying different memberships to different streaming services, and it's just like you're getting a cable package. He's like, but the difference is, and I never thought of this, the difference is that nowadays, back when we used to all tune into shows on a certain day, Jersey Day, if Jersey Shore was a streaming service, we would all, I'm on episode 8, you're on episode 2.
Facts.
Like, people don't tune into things as groups anymore.
No one.
So, like, it's those different things. But in my perspective, in terms of music and how it's helped me, it has helped because I make my own clips, I do the photos, and it has centralized things.
Facts.
But in the end of the day, like, there's so much more to it that I plan to bring outside of Instagram because I feel like once you bring it off the app, that's where you're not confined to the walls.
Well, you have to, bro, because like you can't just, I don't know, man. It's almost like too much work to be on everything though.
That's the thing.
But like, so it's nice to focus on one, but the thing is like you're not gonna reach everyone, and
exactly.
So bringing back to the TikTok and everything else, it's just like these are just different avenues for people to explore to just go to another level.
I'm shook too though at how big like
it's
TikTok
big.
has got, because I remember when like my friend's little cousins or little siblings were using it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's this weird app.
Yeah.
And like to the point that like I'm on Snapchat just scrolling, and then the ad will just be like, have you heard of TikTok? Like it's just like yo, like,
It's crazy.
and it's big. And
Yeah.
yeah, like some of the TikToks I've seen are
Some
hilarious.
yeah, I was on
But-
the app for like 3 hours the other day, just scrolling through shit.
But
I'm like, bro,
that's-
they got me.
And that's when I start to think of those stupid things where it's just like, is it really like, yo, like phones? Like when they say like, oh, TV was literally made to distract you. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, yeah, they probably thought, what if people need things to do when they come home from work and they're tired and relaxing? But like, yeah, like, and that's how certain things in the world go under the radar, and then someone else has to be like, yo, this has been going on and nobody knows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if that's actually it?
Yeah.
And we're actually not paying attention.
Well, that's what I have this theory too, that I think that all this funny content and all this shit that's out there that's dumb as fuck is just distracting us from all the pain and suffering that's out there.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much of that everywhere you turn. This is like probably subconsciously one of the reasons I don't watch the news is it's just so negative. And I'm a pretty positive person. And like I just don't need that. I got enough negativity just around me when I talk to people just complaining about the most mundane bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's like if I can like remove at least like an external way of getting that,
Yeah.
then I think I'm better off. I think
Fair
my
enough.
mental health
There we go.
is doing better.
That's the thing.
Let's talk about conspiracies, because we're at like an hour and
Yo,
45
what
minutes.
the hell? Everyone, no, I'm telling you. Listen, I'm telling you, this isn't your average podcast, bro. This is not your average podcast. Like, I'm having so much fun right now.
Hundo,
that
man.
You can choose what to cut out. You can choose to not.
Nah,
cut it
I'm
out.
not cutting shit out.
Your
This
viewers-
is the podcast.
Your viewers are gonna love this because I'm not here with an. I am here with an agenda, but I'm not here with like.
You gotta promote something.
Yeah, I'm not here to promote like
Yeah,
if I'm talking about healthy living, I'm
Yeah.
not here to promote healthy living. I'm
Yeah,
just telling
yeah.
you what I learned from it, but I don't also do fully. Healthy
What's
living.
your number one like conspiracy that you for sure believe in, like wholeheartedly? No one could sway you on this.
That 9/11 was planned.
9/11 was planned.
Like the 9/11, I've done enough research to be like, yeah, like no, like
What kind of research?
just more or less like basically like not like there's different words for it, like false flags, but more or less it's like Pearl Harbor, for example. They say that Pearl Harbor, they knew or had knowledge that this attack was happening on U.S. soil, but they were willing to let the attack happen and lose people's, like have deaths happen,
Yeah.
so that they could drop the nuke in Japan. So it's not so much that I think, oh, they just planned it, and then it's like, why the hell would they plan it? It's that
There was a
they
strategic
knew
reason.
and they knew it would or could have happened. They planned for it. There's different avenues of
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
I don't know which parts I fully believe. Like they
Yeah.
say, like they set up explosives in the World Trade Centers because the way that it fell was like a demolition style.
I've seen those
jet
YouTube
fuel.
videos
Jet
where it's
fuel
like,
doesn't melt steel beams.
that one, yeah.
It's those types of things that I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider that in my argument, but when you take that in, then it's really like, okay, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But then also the fact that like it's like, okay, they did that to then be like, we have to go to war with Saddam Hussein and Saddam Hussein. had
Oil
nothing-
interests
yeah,
at the end of the day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I believe it's not so much that I want to say I believe that 9/11 was planned. It's more that I believe in the whole like ulterior motive. Like
Yeah.
they're in this country not for this, but for oil
Yeah.
or for this or but it's disguised as this. Like
Yeah.
how they say like when the Haiti earthquake happened,
Yeah.
the Clinton Foundation came to do all sorts of protection things and help them out, but really that's what had to do with the Epstein thing was that they collected kids from there,
Right.
and then the Epstein thing plays a part, and then Pizzagate and all those different things that
Interesting. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
I got one for like that I believe in, but I haven't dove deep in. Maybe you've looked into this one
Okay.
before, but it's the one where it's like how public transportation's shitty on purpose because back when they were trying to introduce cars as the mainstream mode of transportation. It was like back then they actually had really good tram systems and train networks and stuff in like let's say LA, a place like LA where it's just like it was actually really easy to get around with all these different trams and things like that. but then all the car companies, oil companies, all the ones that would benefit from there being more cars on the road were like, nah, fuck that. They bought up all the trams and train tracks and all this shit, destroyed that shit, and just built highways. They
That's
funded
how.
the
Okay.
building of highways and these massive, like, fucking 10-lane freeways.
You know that
And that's how
happens a
you
lot.
see LA now. Is just traffic is this
That's
shit.
like an example of that is like all this vaping shit when everyone was into vaping.
Yeah.
Is that I was never really into it that much. Like I may take a little drag every now and then.
Yeah.
But like I never had my own vape. But the reason when I heard people say, "Oh, stop taking Juuls and stop doing vapes," I was like I wasn't into it, so I didn't really care. But I was like, "Oh, what made them realize now?" But then I saw one thing that said, this is when I believed it, is because what I read is that it's like it's crazy, and this is what I mean by I hate knowing so much is that my mind will just make these connections that'll now make me lead into something else where we'll start here where I read that like tobacco companies are paying into vape ads to steer you away from tobacco, but they've invested in vaping, so they're still making their money. The same way that a club will change their name, but it's
Right.
the same ownership, right?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, new club, but
Yeah.
it's the same people making the same money off you, but because you think it's a new place, so that tobacco companies know that vaping was supposed to be the new thing, and oh, it's not tobacco, whatever. But then people will say, no, vaping is still tobacco, and vaping is still really bad for you. But then they bought into the ads for vaping to say it's this free, it's not harmful, and all these different things. To now, okay, you can stay away from tobacco, but you'll come into our next thing, which we've invested in,
What's the next thing?
which is vaping.
Oh,
But
okay.
we think vaping is the opposite of tobacco and
Oh,
smoking
okay.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
But those same companies have invested in vaping.
But I don't like. Okay, I don't think those companies even had. They didn't even have to invest in the vaping the way.
Nah, they didn't have to.
Because it was an alternative.
But it's the young people. It's that the old people and stuff, they still smoke a lot.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that what's next.
The young people.
The young
the
people
Juuls
will
and
grow
the
up
e-vapes
saying, oh, we don't smoke, and they were hoping our era isn't and even you've seen these ads lately that are like, oh, we're a cigarette company and we're trying to get cigarettes
seen
done
that.
by. I read that, I said, you know what I mean? But those are the things that people don't necessarily think of. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things
Yeah.
that I'll even just joke about and just be like, stay woke. And it's just like,
Stay woke.
like, stay, like I was joking around saying like, controversial. I was like, so Jim Watson came out like this Pride or whatever, and I was just joking around saying like, oh, low-key Jim Watson came out that month to get everyone on his side to distract us from the fact that LRT wasn't ready.
Oh,
And what people didn't realize was that like a few weeks later or something, LRT was like
delayed
again.
Yeah.
But that was just like, I was just throwing that out there. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't even doing research. I just threw that out as a joke. So that's
Yeah.
just like to show like,
That's how easy it is to really even spark something, and then people could.
like, because the best conspiracies are the ones that are easy to believe, or the best to believe, right?
Yeah.
Like, some people will say Dragon Ball Z, the Saiyans are modeled after black people. You know what I mean? RZA, I think it was RZA or Raekwon from Wu-Tang, he said that. And he said because Saiyans, they get called monkeys, so that's the first comparison.
Okay.
2, they were controlled by Frieza as slaves to use their dominance to the way that they built America. They were dominating planets and stealing planets for Lord Frieza.
Okay.
And then Lord Frieza was warned by Zarbon and said, yo, what if these Saiyans get too strong for even you? And then he destroyed the planet so that they would never overcome him. And then the only Saiyans that survived, Goku, Vegeta, Nappa, Turtles, all those people, they don't know where they're from, right?
This is deep, bro. This is deep.
Right? So the Saiyans, so the Saiyans that remain, Goku's on Earth. He didn't even know he was a Saiyan. Vegeta and them are Saiyans, but they thought that it was destroyed by an asteroid. Like, they don't even know the history of what happened to them. So now you have the remaining Saiyans, and they don't know where they're from. They don't know their history. And when they go blonde and they go Super Saiyan, that's when they become their true self. And that's the self that they've always feared, being Frieza in them. So that's why when you have situations where conspiracies say someone like Nipsey Hussle or someone had an idea where they were supposed to come up really up, they get killed or assassinated.
Give me 2 minutes. Finish your thought, but I just gotta take a piss.
Go ahead.
My bad, man. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. I didn't even know about that shit ever.
It is Lance Lorenzo on the It's Not That Deep podcast. I'm just by myself right now. I don't even know what this is. This is a vodka cran, I think. It's really good. But it's Christmas Eve. I've been making music the past month. Obviously more than that, but just new music. New music coming. Probably an album coming. Not probably, but album coming in January. That's a bomb. More on that later, just on the gram. Follow me, lvnce.lorenzo. One day I'm gonna have my own podcast, so I'm just practicing right now.
My bad, guy.
Here comes Deepak right now. Don't worry, I had a good drop. I had a dope little drop while you were there. But yeah, it's like those different little like tie-ins, and like they never know their true origin. The way that like when you look at like American history and all of that, like I took a class that was about like African and Caribbean like history. And like you read the books, like these are just books that tell the stories, and like man, like it's just fucked because of how blunt it is. Like it's just like I was reading it and I had to read chapter 1 to 2, and it would be like slaves were divided so that the languages were not like they couldn't speak the same language, and they could never, because the number of slaves to masters was like ridiculous.
Yeah, so then they could band together and
but
then
they mixed them
uprise.
together so that they couldn't. And it's like, yo. So then that's why in America, like African Americans, whatever, but like they see like Africans as like different. Like I'm not African. Like, like, you know, so because they don't know where they're from without using like ancestry or whatever. Because their people never planned to get, you know.
Yeah.
And then they came to another place and now they don't know where they're from. They don't know any, like, so that's like, it's just crazy. Like when you think about those types of things and the connection of how like a lot of conspiracies are like really connected, like crack, like, you know, crack in the 80s, like how come crack was a bigger you got a crazier charge for crack than cocaine, but crack was a poor man's drug and crack was in the ghetto, and then ghetto people in the ghetto were like, yo, like we don't have boats, like we don't have this shit to get from Mexico and wherever you get coke from, like so how are we? And they say they dropped coke from a helicopter, they dropped crack in the ghetto, and people were like, yo, what is this? They started taking it, and then it was just like they had informants that were like, this is how you make it, and then after like they were trying to destroy the black family and destroy the males. At the same time, Ronald Reagan was hard on war on drugs. And that what I was saying, the punishment for crack was harder than cocaine because people in LA, Beverly Hills, and all that were doing coke. And, you know, and then meanwhile, at the same time, Bill Clinton, through the three-strike law. I'm tongue twisting like crazy. The three-strike law. That was another one where like you could rob a car, do something else petty, 25, like boom. And that affected people in lower incomes, right? So, you know, exactly. So it's those little things where it's just like those little conspiracies, like people don't listen to. And then going back to Kanye was so
none of those sound to me like unsubstantiated next levels, like.
But people wouldn't think that because a lot of people trust their government, and that's the thing. A lot of people's like, how much do you trust your government? Like. And some people don't, to an extent where they're enough to think the earth is flat, and they lie about us. They lie about gravity to us and all those things. But for me,
I'm not with that one.
It's like the government every now and then they declassify classified info. And that's what I mean by like, it's like there's a lot of stuff out there. But because it's not interesting, because it's not reality TV, because it's not TikTok, because it's not this, we just don't let it. We just let it go. Like JFK, like they have files that have been declassified, and they really give you info on the fact that he was set up. But like we don't care. Like that's boring to us. So like that. It just goes unnoticed.
There was one Joe Rogan podcast I was listening to on my way back from Boston, and there was this Commander Fravor. This guy, he long story short, he pretty much was this like naval commander or something like that, and there were he went out, he got this mission to go out on just go check out this weird unidentified object out in the middle of the ocean They couldn't figure out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just go check it out. Training exercise. You don't got nothing to shoot it down or anything. Just go check it out with your team. It's something like 2 planes or something like that. And long story short, he goes, checks it out, flies over, and he sees this thing. And like, you know how if you see waves of water, if there's a rock or something, the water hits it different and it splashes like a different way. So he saw like this 40-foot thing that looked like a tic tac, like a really big tic tac, floating over the water, moving back and forth and up and down in these like weird pattern. And he saw this with his eyes, so it wasn't just like a radar thing or something like that. And he's like, nah, bro, what are you talking about? And he's not the type of guy to just like bullshit just for the sake of just like a story. Like he was a very like, I did not want to believe this.
Right.
And he flew back, and his other pilots saw it too, and they're like, the fuck is that? And it was like, you know, they went to get in closer to it, and it was just going in this erratic, like nothing could go like that.
Right.
Nothing could move like that. I'm thinking aliens right away. You know what I'm saying?
But there's no video of it, right?
There is.
Okay.
He has a video of the radar that shows,
but not the actual thing.
No.
You see, so that's what I hate is like, because I'm really like, I'm into like the whole alien thing, but I don't really listen to like Bob Lazar and all those types of things. But what I'm really into is like celebrity blood sacrifices and stuff like that.
Oh, damn.
So I listened to this guy that's a really big pro on that in Europe. I forget his name, but he was talking about like Whitney Houston, for example. I was saying how Whitney Houston was killed because she was useless as a legendary star. And that when they do greatest hits and stuff, that's just the label wanting more money off old shit. So they realize Whitney Houston is on drugs. She's washed. She's not how she used to be, and it's clear. So they were like, let's kill her. Because it was close to Valentine's Day, they could re-release I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
They could get money off I Will Always Love You rather than just releasing it randomly.
Yeah.
It'll be because she died close to Valentine's Day. She died in her hotel room in the bathtub because she got high and drunk and died drowning, but she was found face down in a matter where she had to have been drowned. But then also there was a party downstairs that had a bunch of Hollywood elites. You know what I mean? So it's just all these different coincidences. And like this guy was telling the story and he was saying it like he probably knows from doing research, but I was kind of like, how does he just know this? Like he said something about John Lennon. There was one of the FBI's #1 assassins back in the day. He was magically at the scene of John Lennon's death, but he was a doorman at the hotel he was walking into.
Bro.
And John Lennon was promoting peace, anti-war, all these different things. Yeah. Right?
They're like, we need to get rid of this guy.
And then on top of it, they say that the guy who shot him was under mind control, right? Yeah. So this is where it starts to get crazy. Or if you start to say, oh, the guy who shot John Lennon was under mind control. He killed John Lennon and said, I killed John Lennon. Because when they found him, he actually was standing there and just said, I'm the one who killed him. And then he got arrested. So they say that he was like programmed by the FBI to do that or the CIA to do that. He killed him, turned himself in, and that was it. But on top of that, people are like, that's ridiculous. But then Operation Paperclip. The U.S. government factually gave people LSD, and there's a thing called MK Ultra, and that's mind control. In the 60s, they ran tests on people where they they put them under mind control, and it was successful. So now if I take that and then put it to the fact that someone was under mind control to kill John Lennon, but if they don't know about Operation Paperclip, they're like, that's crazy. So the government put people under mind control and they kill people and then they admit to it, and you know what I mean? But then on top of it, John Lennon, the way that he was shot, the way that the bullets came into him, they say he was shot from behind in the back. But one of the bullets, for example, entered to his side. So they say that there was multiple people that shot him.
Right.
And that they just, and then they just run and that's it.
Right.
And there's other celebrities where they say that's happened. Like it happens all the time. Like
the Jimi Hendrix one was sketchy too.
And they also say like example, they say with Whitney Houston, Jennifer Hudson at the time was on the come up. That was 2011, 2012. Yeah. She was on the come up still. They said Jennifer Hudson was gonna replace Whitney Houston. There was a Whitney Houston biopic or thing that was coming out. Okay. Jennifer Hudson was supposed to play Whitney Houston. There was all sort before her body even was declared dead to the people. the price of "I Will Always Love You" and some of her songs, they already went up on iTunes.
Damn, bro.
So
I mean, I don't know,
it's
man.
things like that. Eminem, Proof.
Yeah.
When Proof died, he died a bit after the Toy Soldiers video.
Yeah.
The Toy Soldiers video depicted him getting shot outside of a venue.
Yeah,
Proof
but bro,
Proof got shot
but we could
outside of a
also-
venue
but then
less
we
than
could
a year
also
ago.
But we could also
or
say
later.
that The Simpsons is the greatest conspiracy
So how?
predictor of all time because,
Facts.
like, you know what I'm saying.
then-
So like sometimes something.
There's a thing for that though. That I forget what it's called, but it's saying how when the Simpsons do that, it just triggers something that at some point the universe makes it happen. And that's what I mean by, bro, when I say the universe is like the universe is so real. Like I always had this pattern where like back in the day when I used to go to the Rito Center all the time when I got my first 2 jobs. Like I got my first job and then I quit that, got another job, and I used to just buy clothes, go to Urban Outfitters because I was like 16 years old and I was buying Vans every 2 weeks. And I love to do weird things by myself. Like I've gone to the movies by myself. I've gone to like pulled up to the club by myself, but it's because I know that I'm gonna see someone I know.
Yeah.
But like I don't mind doing things by myself at all.
Yeah.
So I love to shop by myself. And back when I used to go, I would go to Rito and I would just joke and be like, I wonder if I'll see this person. And I would always see that person I'm talking about. And it'd be people, like random people.
Well, there's something to be said about like manifestation and also like actually, you know, the power of thought and the power of like something that you think and believe, and then it might not happen exactly that way,
but
it'll
happens,
fucking happen.
But that's the thing with like I find with pseudoscience these days is like it's now like a trend for everyone energy, but they don't actually get what it is, like what it like really is.
100%.
So like for example, like what's an example? And you could probably give me an example too, like an example of like energy, like I put the energy out there. Was
right.
like I said about my lids job. Like I was moving out and I was like, fuck, like I need rent money. And I had 2 jobs, but they were both part-time.
Yeah.
And I was saying like, yo, how am I going to secure those hours
I
to
have
be
a
able to
perfect example
make
for
it
this,
happen.
bro. 100%,
Right?
man.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so I was like, how am I going to secure the hours to make this happen? Like I'm scared. And then I was scrolling on Facebook within minutes. And that's when my boy was like, yo, looking for someone to hire, blah 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 blah. And he wasn't even my boy, like at all. Like I was on another day, I would have just scrolled. But I was like, "What job?" And I thought he was gonna tell me it's like some student painting bullshit, commission, lawn shit.
Yeah.
And he was just like lids.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm stepping down, so you be assistant manager." And I'm like, "Do I need experience? No." Got it. And then like, I was like, even like when he called me to tell me I got the job, like days later, that day I was like, "Oh man, like I got the job." Like, and I just held my phone, and at one point he just called. Like I do it all the time when I want to say like, okay, like I hope the pizza's here, and I'm like, oh shit, like all the time, like scary. So for me, I've watched The Secret. I've done the research and all those. So The Secret is on Netflix, and it's just it explains basically laws of attraction and the real steps of it. And the reason why I fuck with The Secret is because I watched it being like laws of attraction, that's The Secret, and I was like, wow, like I already know that. But then whenever I would think they're trying to be too preachy or they're trying to lean towards a way, they would cancel the thought and be like, don't think we're saying like, you know, or I'd be like, wait, doesn't that mean that everything that I thought means that even if I thought bad things is going to happen? They'd be like, oh, don't think that, just like they were reading my mind. But then I put it to test, and in a lot of things, it's happened where I just manifested something and it worked, negative or positive, because it holds no barriers.
Because at the end of the day, man, it's like our thoughts are everything, and like our thoughts, our feelings, and emotions actually affect everything, because those turn into habits. Those habits turn into like, you know, how people view you, interact with you, whether you want to talk about energy or not. Whenever you interact with anybody, it can either be a positive or a negative interaction. Or, you know, nothing, like something is taken away there. Some energy is exchanged there. It can be like, it doesn't like positive or negative. It's a very like easy way to put it. It's like saying the left or the right. But like there is something exchanged there. And then that could turn into like what your like personality or your temperament, or like what you what you're perceived as, and he's just a
That's what I find in music that's kind of got me ahead locally, not like ahead of like other people, but just like in terms of my own growth.
yeah.
Is that a lot of people knew me already because at the club I was rowdy, jumping around, just talking to anybody.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, back then I had braids, so I looked like Travis and ASAP. I used to get all Uzi, Travis, ASAP, and then I cut it blonde hair, and then they'd be like, oh, wherever I go, the blonde guy, and then you know what I mean. So it kind of like made a chain where I would jump around with people, and like later on I see them, oh, it's you, because there'd be these weird moments where like one day it was Canada Day. I was talking to this guy for like maybe 20 minutes downtown. We were talking, and then like 2 weeks later, my cousin from like Stittsville came to my house with this guy, and I was like, yo, you look familiar. And it turned out it was the guy I was talking to downtown, and he was friends with my cousin, who I had no clue he even knew. Like,
that's crazy.
I was shook. So it's like those different little things. Where like,
I really do believe that, and I know it's such a cheesy thing, and some people say everything happens for a reason and this, that. I'm starting to actually believe that, even like take all the cheesiness aside from it. Like one story that I actually like growing up that actually stuck with me, and you might fuck with this because you know about Kanye and Big Sean, but like how Big Sean rapped to Kanye
on the radio
at the radio station. So I'm a big Sean fan, and growing up I listened to all the mixtapes. I was like, I loved Big Sean's flow, his
Detroit.
Detroit.
That's one of my favorite mixtapes.
So
good.
Detroit
is
so
like,
fire, bro.
Yeah, no, trust me. Big Sean is someone that like I heard it and I was like, yo, I want to hear more and more. Like
he was just so like he was almost like a
nowadays,
pioneer in that flow. Nowadays it's hard. It's hard, bro.
Because he like you have to remember, like when it comes to people talking about Wale, Big Sean, and all these people, they were around when Drake was coming up, ASAP and Kendrick and all the other people that actually J. Cole when they were all 25, 26, like you know. But go on.
But anyways, all that to say about that story, to me, it actually stuck with me so hard is because he got that phone call from his boy, and it was like, "Yo, bro, you should rap for Kanye," something like that. It's easily one of those things you could just dismiss. Like, man, fuck out of here, bro, with all that bullshit. I'm not gonna do it.
Exactly.
But something told him, maybe I should go do this.
And you know that song, "Nothing is stopping you."
Yeah,
and he
yeah. He actually does.
And he says that like a rap for Ye. And I was like, he was like, nah. And he was like, then I said like, fuck, let's do it.
And he actually did it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stories like that I know of. Like Post Malone, his boys told him to wait to drop White Iverson.
Okay.
And he did it, but he dropped it anyways.
Okay.
He was like, fuck that, I'm dropping it now. And then look, Bryson Tiller, he borrowed money to release Don't. And he was like, I'll pay you back when I can. And then, boom. Like, it's you know, it's those little stories. So then actually, we never ended up getting to it. But it's like, I hate like creating these stories where it's like you know, you get into something and you want to have those stories. Like let's say you're an athlete and you want to have that story like, yeah, I lost this game, or everyone wants to have a Michael Jordan flu game. Everyone wants to have a game where they were injured and they grinded and they still killed the game. Everyone wants to have a game that they were the hero, and you know. So it's like I guess like I have a few stories where in the future I picture like when I have the documentary and it's like Deepak podcaster and you're up and you're saying your experience with me and how they say when you hear things about Kanye and it's like someone who worked with Kanye way back and they're like, I could tell like Dame Dash was like, the reason why I fucked with Kanye is because he didn't give a fuck like and right away
Jamie Foxx talked about that and how much like Kanye was just nonchalant,
you know. And that's why on Get 'Em High, he said, why you think me and Dame cool? We assholes. And Dame's like, yeah, like he just didn't give a fuck. Like he just, whatever he was driven on, he didn't care how he said it, how it came off. And that's kind of like the mentality that like when it comes to those types of things, like I've always like fucked with those types of stories, but about it coming naturally.
Yeah.
So like,
don't force it.
Yeah. So for example, the reason why I had to call you on another phone is because I have no service on my phone. But the reason why I have no service on my phone is because every now and then when I spend too much on music, I'll have a time period where my phone will say, oh, pay by this date. And I'll be like, okay, I can pay by that date. But then I'll be like, like if I pay by this day, like the last time I have to keep the service on, I'll have to push back music in terms of paying for masters or paying for things to advance.
I don't get it. The bill?
The bill, basically.
Okay.
So the reason why I have no service right now is because I had a phone bill that was due. But at the same time, I had to pay my engineer. And had I not paid my engineer, I would have had to push everything else back. And because I care more for the music, and I know that I'm getting paid on Friday. That's in like 2 days.
Then
Like,
you could pay your bill.
yeah,
then.
like I don't mind
Okay.
waiting
Well,
until.
that's a really that's a solid compromise, but a lot of people wouldn't make it.
Exactly. And
like,
people
I
are
gotta
like,
pay
oh,
my phone bill.
yeah, you know, people are like, and I used to be like that, but
Yeah.
like people are like, yo, like, how do you not have a move around with a phone and whatnot? But like, I don't know, it's not that. It's not that
deep.
difficult. It's not. It's not. It's not that deep for
to,
sure.
to.
Like 100%. So it's those types of things where like, you know, or other people I've worked with where I know that like it wasn't an act. I just loved, like, I could have been like this where we talked like this for 3 hours and then we were like, okay, let's work. And then now we're past. To me, it's about comfort in anything. And going back to school is like a lot of people may have finished school before me that I know or not know or whatever that are my age, but now they finished school, dragged themselves through exams, focused on school, then had their summer break, and then went back to school mode. And now that they're 23, 24, they're just learning about themselves. And maybe not even because they jumped into their career job or whatever. But
Some people might never do that, bro.
Exactly.
And that's why I find it so important to meditate. And that's something that's helped me a lot, because I might be one of the people you described as like, I got out of school and I got this job and I'm just working. And it's like, that didn't feel right to me. It's like, okay, wait, time out. I'm surrounded by people who are saying stuff like, oh, only 35 more years to retirement. Freaks me the fuck out. So I'm just like, no, time out. This ain't it. I got to figure out what it is. And yo, like coming back to everything, it's like one of those moments. To me, my moment, my thing where I had to, my catalyzing moment was like, yo, I got to move out of my parents' basement. Okay? It's too comfortable. Everything's too good here.
Exactly.
If I didn't do that, it's a long story. But like, I got an Airbnb. I told my parents I found an apartment and I moved out. I just moved out. I got an Airbnb. I didn't have my apartment.
Long?
It was like 2 months. I found an Airbnb. I got it for 2 months and it was some sick deal. He was like, yeah, I'll give you like 30% off, whatever, because you're getting 2 months.
Right.
I'm like, yeah. Yo, mom, dad, I found an apartment. I'm out. Love you guys. Boom. Pack all my shit. Cut. I had a month. I felt like I had a month to figure out where the fuck am I going to live. Because I told, like, I'm out. I decided I'm not going back. It's not, I can't.
Right.
It was a point in my life. I had to get out.
Of course.
And I love my parents to death. It's not about them. But you know what it is. You had to have your privacy and do your own thing. So to me, the big thing was every day I was searching, kind of like manifesting, you could say, like, yo, I'm going to find a place. I will find, it's going to happen. I have this month to figure it out. Boom. See a Kijiji ad. No photos. Westboro, this place, this much is the rent. I'm like, bless, let me check it out. Call the guy, he's like, yo, I have an overwhelming demand. Come check it out now, or like it's gone. I'm like, bless. I was a street down. That's where my Airbnb was, a street down. I'm like, I'm there in 5 minutes. I came through. Well, why don't you have any photos up of the place? Old head. Couldn't figure out how to put up photos. I come check it out. The guy was a hoarder who lived here. His shit was already still here. It was so hard for me to even picture living in a place like that. I'll show you a video after this podcast. It was disgusting. I was like, oh, God. But I had the vision. I'm like, nah, this is it. This is the universe speaking to me, telling me, yo, you have to do this. You'll figure it out. And I did. And like, I would not have started a podcast if I was still living in my parents' basement. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Same with
right
me
now.
and music if I hadn't moved out. Yeah. Because it's just a different, like,
headspace.
Yeah.
Everything. And like, that's not to say like there's anything wrong with living with your parents. It's just when you know in your heart it's right, yo, make a jump. You'll land on your feet, bro.
That's the thing. Like, my parents, like, it was more because I wasn't in school. And then when I was working, they thought I was going to work for like a year. And they thought I was going to just work, save up for school. And then they thought that by me working for a year, saving up the money to pay for part of school, I'll take it more serious.
Yeah.
And like I didn't save up a dime. Like I didn't save up for school at all.
Yeah.
And like I'll never forget like getting closer and closer to school, and they'd be like, "Hey, we have to talk about school and payment and like your courses." And I was like, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing, like what I plan to tell them or anything." And like when they were like, "Oh, so like how like where's your share?"
Mm-hmm.
And I told them like I don't have it. Like I will say like I remember like I don't think I've ever. That was like probably the last time I ever like I've never felt the disappointment in my parents. Like I heard like when I was like, because it was like maybe August like, and I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't have it, and then like my mom was just like, and I was actually like, oh, like they were serious, and they truly thought that I was, because I told them the last summer I'm gonna work, save my money, and whatever. I live at home. All I have to pay is my phone bill and gas and whatever. Like I don't have to pay for much. So like and I still wasted it on nonsense and not for school. So like then they were like, you know what? Like we feel like you should move out, learn the real world. But it was like you may move out and land on your feet and figure it out, and like I become a manager at a retail store, and like of course I don't want to do that the rest of my life besides making
But
music.
still, bro, it's still something.
But
to
I'm
be.
still like I'm still like shit, like I'm a manager. I could have never imagined myself as a retail manager ever, like, and within a year. So like it just helps the timing of it, I guess, that like it's better than me working at like Tim Hortons and I'm like uncertain about things and I live alone and all these different things, and I'm like I don't know when to. It's not even like that. Like I'm fine, and like I needed that actually, and now it's to a point where I'm so like not used to living at home that like, my parents like come back home, like
Yeah,
we miss
same.
you, you know what I mean?
Your
And-
relationship with them improves.
yeah, and like because like me and my dad used to like butt heads so much because like my dad was a teacher, so it's like picture like the police chief's son being like a menace, like you know what I mean? Like it's so like now that we don't live together, I come back and now it's more like, oh, like like I actually miss them and we're a lot more close.
Yeah.
But it took those types of things. For me, I feel like I always heard this quote that I always love saying, and it's like I don't scratch if I don't itch, and I don't dance if I don't like the music. So it's like until I'm in that situation where okay, like now I'm actually here, I'm out of my house, probably with you in the podcast. Like I was like, okay, you know what? Now that I'm actually, because I was making music when I was at home, but like I was in my basement, PlayStation, listening through the TV and all this. But like when I moved out, that's when I bought my mic. That's when I started taking GarageBand more
Start
serious.
making investments in yourself.
Exactly, because like I'm not gonna start singing and rapping in my house. My parents are in the next room, and I'll keep it down, all that nonsense. So it just helped me a lot by moving out and like just like learning to do things on your own.
I love
like,
it, bro. I love it, man. Look, bro, we've been talking for over 2 and almost a half hours. Nuts.
Feels like 30 minutes though.
I know. We could keep going for probably another 3, but I do have to wrap this up. I might even have to release this shit in like parts. That's the only thing running through my head right now. But
pod series.
But yo, it's been a sick convo, and I know I'm gonna have you back on.
For sure.
We're gonna keep doing this and keep upgrading our progress and keep leveling
100.
up. Before I let you go, quick lightning round questions. I do this with everyone, but I gotta do it with you still.
I'm excited.
Try to like keep the answer relatively short
Yeah,
and sweet,
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. Question 1. Favorite artist other than Kanye West?
Travis Scott.
Love it. Number 1 thing a young rapper can do right now to increase their visibility? In your opinion.
Okay, wait. Ask the question one more time.
Number 1 thing a young rapper could do right now to increase their visibility. Someone young who just wants to like break out. Yo, how can I get seen?
I feel like you can't ask me that because like I know the real answer, which is like I don't know, social media tactics. But I just want to say, just stick to the craft.
Stick to the craft.
Dedicate yourself.
Then just say what you gotta say, bro. That's the thing. Your go-to
there's
spot.
There's no rush to it.
There isn't.
Yeah.
No. A lot of people think that there is.
That's the thing.
Stay in your lane. Okay. Your go-to spot to eat late night food.
Oh, There's a place on Radio Street. It's called Midnight Macaroni and Cheese.
Oh, dang.
It's have you had it before?
Yeah, I have. Is that the one where it's like a little box?
It's a little shack. It's a little shack.
They give you like a box?
Yeah. It's there's a music place called Mavericks.
I ordered it on Uber Eats, so I haven't been to the place.
And they put it's like Dorito crumbs on the top. Okay, I don't get the Dorito crumbs.
I've gotten that.
Bro.
It's a jalapeno. I had the jalapeno one.
Bro.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So
that's
good.
the spot.
Number one thing you think people would be surprised to know about you?
I would like not so much surprised, but like I'm into everything. Like when I wear these band shirts and shit, like I actually like
you listen to Metallica.
Yeah, like one guy like came to me, "You do you listen to Metallica?" And I started like I had the songs on the back, so I named the songs, and he's like, "Oh, that's why you named them because they're on your back." And then I sang like each lyric of each song, and then he was like, "Oh, okay."
People say the same thing because I went through a whole classic rock phase when I was
in
like...
man, we're in the much music phase, like Green Day, all like 2000s, Billy Talent.
But no, I mean, I'm talking even further back, like the Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, even, all these old, like,
I just like whatever is like classics.
Hundo.
Yeah.
Can't be afraid to like a fucking type of music.
That's the thing.
What Avenger would you be? I have an idea in my head.
I'm mad because another weird thing. I watch these videos on YouTube that'll be like, 5 ways to be more likable, or like 4 ways to like. And this guy had these videos that were saying like what each Avengers character like represents within the scope of people. So like Iron Man, he's the cool guy, and they were saying like Robert Downey Jr. in real life, like. He tells jokes, and when he's on late night shows, they laugh at him, but he may not laugh at their joke. Like, but he's the cool guy. Like Thor, whatever his name is, he makes fun of himself. And he's the guy that's like, he's touchy-feely with guys and girls. He's able to be funny.
The big sensitive teddy bear.
Yeah, and like his touches are like with girls, they're not like, oh, you touched me. And with guys, it's not like no homo. Like he's just like a good to be around guy. Anthony Mackie, who's like, who does he play again?
I don't even know who that is.
He's the black guy.
Oh, he's
Papa Doc from 8 Mile.
He's fucking
Nighthawk or something like that. Honestly, I'm not
Ant-Man?
I'm not a superhero guy. I'm not into Marvel movies.
What was his name again?
Anthony Mackie. IE for Mackie. I forget what superhero he is.
He was... Man, I gotta know now. Hold up. Falcon?
Yeah. Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon.
So like Falcon is like someone that like he's like more like the attention seeker. He's funny. He likes to like grab the attention and all those different things. But he may not be like a super attractive guy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I don't watch like superhero movies like that. Who would you say I am?
I would say you'd be like Doctor Strange. Is that an Avenger? I hope it is.
He's not an Avenger, but he's in the newer like. I'm pretty sure he's in the timeline of like the newer. Like, bro, I don't like. I'm gonna say a big bomb. Like, I haven't even seen Black Panther.
Look, he's in that universe. Let's just call it.
Yeah.
He was in the movies.
Yeah.
But I would say you'd be Doctor Strange just because of like your quantum thinking. You're deep. You're a deep guy. You're very self-aware, and you're very like he was a guy. His whole story is basically like he was a doctor who was a fucking brilliant surgeon, lost his abilities, and then went and found himself through alternate ways and just became this anyways.
Okay.
So I just find like that's what I would guess.
Okay.
But I don't know you like that. But you know, even after a few hours, I feel like I do. But that's what my guess would be.
Okay.
Me, I'd probably be Hulk.
Yeah.
I feel
Are you just saying that because you're big?
No, not just that. Like Hulk's actually a super sensitive dude, man. He's big and sensitive,
So you're
and
super sensitive.
And he adapts to the situation, and that's what I am. Like, I'll adapt to different situations.
I feel like the thing with personality things is I'm not good at like just like if I was to read all of them, I'll be like, oh, but like I'm kind of.
Well, get back to me, bro.
Like, have you ever done a Myers-Briggs test?
I have, bro.
What were you?
I think I forgot, man. I want to say I was intuitive or feeler.
Mine was.
I think I was intuitive. I think that's what they told me.
Mine was like I got the same personality as like Robert Downey Jr., Obama.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of it, but it just had to do with someone that like takes the lead, likes to be the, you know what I mean? But like
I think I'm forgetting the exact name, but I think intuitive because I'm very adaptable and able to react to different situations.
Okay.
But anyways,
It was the campaigner. That's what it was.
the campaigner. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's an interesting one,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so much for coming on the
Yeah,
podcast, Brody.
no problem.
Shout out your social media so people can check you.
I already shouted out when you're in the bathroom. You gotta watch that drop. It was beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
It was beautiful. I might have to take your seat. But it was.
I was just gonna edit that part out, but shit.
You might have to keep it. It was beautiful.
I'm gonna have to keep it.
It's at lvnce.lorenzo, Lorenzo.
So it's a fancy Lance, guys. It's not
Yes.
just Lance. It's LV.
LV.
CE.
Of course, it's like that ASAP era when everyone put their V's.
ABSB. Yeah.
Yeah, that was from, or when people put X's in their name.
Yeah.
That was from that era.
Thanks so much for coming through, brother.
For sure.
I really appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
bro.
you. And just remember, guys, it's never that deep.
It's never that deep. Thanks, guys. I mean, yeah, thanks for listening and thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Gotta end it on an awkward ass note, right? Thanks for listening to another episode of the It's Not That Deep podcast. For access to exclusive articles and content, please head over to www.itsnotthatdeeppodcast.com. And to help me grow this thing to the next level, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and subscribe to my podcast on all platforms, wherever you listen, and share with all your friends and family on all social media. And please leave a rating as well. Remember, it's not that deep.